Hello, what's up, everybody? Tasteless and State here, bringing you day one of season 3 of the RSL. How's it going, man?
Oh, I'm so excited to be back, Tasteless. It's been a long time since season 2, and we're playing on a new version of StarCraft II. Our players are ready. We've got new maps. It's an exciting time to be a StarCraft fan.
And on a new patch here.
Yeah.
So this is always, for me at least, some of the funnest times to cast, because we get to see how the pros are going to approach the new meta. I guess we'll see the new meta kind of develop in front of our eyes, and how each of the matchups are going to operate. Is there going to be a strong race? Is there going to be a weak race? Well, whatever you think it's going to be, we're going to find out, because we're going to have the players duking it out over the next 2 weeks as we try to see who is going to be the best and who is going to come out as an RSL Season 3 champion.
Yeah, going to be jam-packed with action these next 2 weeks as 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, that is this weekend, we're going to be going through the entire group stage, and then 20th to 23rd, my goodness, it will be a marathon as we go through this single bracket.
So I want to talk about this. If you're watching the schedule right now, we had to make a big shift because we thought there was going to be a major tournament in China that would have overlapped with the final week that we had. And it turns out it was canceled, but we already moved the schedule, so we're not gonna move it back now. But the point is that week 2 of the RSL is actually going to be, as far as content size, it's going to be the size of 2 weeks, and that means we're going to be starting earlier. We're going to be starting at 4:30 in the afternoon over here. And we're going to have a short break when we get through about half of the day, and then we're going to be finishing it up. So if you want to join us for that final week, it's going to be a lot of content to watch.
Yeah, absolutely, and we want to welcome Archon Studios again in Season 3 here. They're producing the StarCraft tabletop miniature games, and they're our official partner here at the RSL.
Yeah, it's been so exciting to have them down here and supporting us again. We actually have in the studio the first figurine here. Zeratul, we just got this. It's still wrapped in the plastic. Obviously, this is not the entire set. This is just one piece. But I had chills when I opened the box.
Looks pretty good.
And saw this little box inside. And there's going to be more stuff coming out really soon. Go to their website at Archon Studio. They've got a ton of great stuff up there. Not just even what they're doing for StarCraft, which I think is amazing, but they've got all sorts of other franchises up as well. And I think what they're doing for StarCraft is really cool. This thing looks awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's just incredible. Not even just making this, but also supporting StarCraft II esports and such. It's a beautiful thing. It's a great time to be a StarCraft fan, truly.
Yes. And we can go to our next slide over here. Go to the Patreon, patreon.com/Revive SC2. This entire tournament is supported by the community. And I got to say, it's been so rewarding for us to put this show on for you guys. We got this space built out. We have kind of like a base now to produce tournaments and content out of. We've got a little podcast corner on the other side behind the camera that we were on earlier. A little production setup over here, a little setup with our lights. If you want to support what we're doing, that money goes to the prize pool. It goes to staffing the place. It goes to building the set like we already have here. And it's going to go to our live event. So consider signing up for a tier, whichever you can afford. We would really appreciate it. And we are going to have... we've got merch as well.
Yeah, tastelessthreads.com. Patreon supporters of the RSL also get a 20% discount on all Tasteless TV merchandise. And on that site, you can find not just the RSL hoodie, the mug, the t-shirt, and also the pins, but Tasteless also has a ton of very cool shirts, which I will never forget you wearing it into a bar and the bartender being like, you wear your own merch.
That's right.
Laughing at you, but you got to know it's good. I mean, if Tasteless is wearing it here, not a broadcast on the streets of Seoul,
I am a
quality.
bit of a fashion icon out here in the esports world. So, guys, go there. Are we going to do the ticket slide next, or are we going to do the live event slides? Let's see. Okay, Ticket slide. Sorry, guys. New season, new slides. So we're going to have the offline finals. So we're starting Season 3 now. We wrapped up Season 1 and 2 already, obviously. All that is going to lead into this big event at the end of the year that's going to be in a big esports venue that we've rented out in Seoul. The dates are December 13th and 14th. We've got regular tickets, which I think are very affordable for 2 full days of StarCraft 2. We've also got these premium, baller, just absolutely out of control VIP seats. And we're going to have a bunch of other cool stuff to come with that. We're still figuring out what the package is going to be, but we have a limited number of those. Yeah, I mean, whatever you could afford to get, I would go for it. State's more of a regular ticket kind of guy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's trying to get a bang
I shop
for
at
his
Costco,
buck.
man.
But then every once in a while you get tasteless, and he puts his grill on, and he gets the premium ticket, and he's going to have nice catering and food, and maybe a little bit more access to the players and then the casters, and a nice comfy seat in the front. So you pick what's right for you. There are a limited number of those tickets, but we tweeted them out I think 2 weeks ago, but I don't feel like a lot of people buy their tickets based off when they see it on Twitter. So we're going to see how quickly or not quickly the tickets sell. It's our first time doing this. But there is a cap on them. So if you want to get them, and you can buy them in bulk too, if it's like you and a couple of your friends are going to do them, you can buy them there. And yeah, you get them on my merch site, tastelessthreads.com. It's the first 2 items that show up on the shop. So that's how you do it.
Yeah, and of course, we also are going to be having the last chance qualifier for the RSL offline finals. Now, on Twitter, at RSL Revival, the sign-up link is going to be open today. Sign-ups will be available for, I think, about 1 week, and that LCQ is going to be happening day 1, Saturday, December 13th at the live event. And of course, because there's going to be a ton of people competing in this one, travel and accommodation not included for the LCQ, but for the players who won Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, they will be seated directly in with a flight.
That's right. So you can see on the graphic on the right, we're going to get the qualified person for Season 3 once we wrap this season up. And then this is kind of a fun idea we had because, there's a lot of different ways you could structure tournaments. So day 1 is going to be like this all-out bloodbath of everybody trying to squeeze into that last spot. We're going to have a lot of different games, a lot of variety, and then we're going to change the tempo up, and we're going to have some huge, long, dramatic series, and it's going to be cool. It's going to be fun, and when we're done, that's going to be it for the year for StarCraft II, basically. I don't think there's any other major events happening after that. We'll all go see our families, and then come back next year strong for 2026 with more StarCraft II for you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun way to close out the year. So if you are watching and you want to participate, make sure that you sign up. That link only going to be available for 1 week, and I really cannot wait for this offline finals. It was a big dream for us having an offline finals here at the RSL. It was something that we hoped we would get, and through your support, we've been able to make it happen. But before that, we have to find out who the third player is going to be, and it's going to start here today with the group stages.
That's right. Solar, Zoun, Bunny, and MaxPax. And, again, I've said this before, State, I have never casted a game of MaxPax. I have been...
Yeah, that's right.
And then one day we had him here at RSL, and somehow the days that the games I was casting, and ended up missing those. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Will today be the day where I finally get to tick this off my bucket list? But this is going to be a great group, and we're going to be completing the entirety of this group this week, and then we're going to be going into a very heavy, thick week 2 of a lot of matches here to bang out this season.
Yeah, it's going to be really high tempo as we continue on here at the RSL. And Solar, Zoun, Bunny, MaxPax is a fantastic group to start out with. We got a Terran, we got a Protoss, we got a Zerg. Those Zergs, we haven't been seeing them in a lot of these online tournaments, man, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They have been shy, but we got a new patch, and I'm really excited to see what Solar is going to bring to the table. I was actually watching him play last night at an online cup, and he was looking so good. Some really aggressive and fun games, and I think we're in for a treat.
I think so. Look, this will always happen. Whether the game is what you'd call like a living game in the sense that they're patching it, moving it around, or if it's kind of a fixed, cemented game like StarCraft I, where you're basically, like you look at a game 20 years ago, it looks like the same game now, right? People can do the same stuff. Every once in a while, a race comes out on top, or another race kind of falls down to the bottom, and they don't really know how to play or approach the matchup. So we'll see how many Zergs get deep in this. I really do hope we get a Zerg on our final day here for the event. But we're going to start this best of 3 off tonight here, Solar versus Zoun.
Yeah, Mothership, Maganatha, and Winter Madness going to be the first 3 sets, and I'm very excited for Mothership and Winter Madness. We have a new pool, not just here in the RSL with Season 3. Of course, patrons got to vote for that depending on their tier. But also, in the StarCraft II, I'm pretty sure the ladder just updated with new maps like 24, 36 hours ago. So everything's feeling really fresh. Mothership is this awesome 3-player map, which, what a fitting way to start off RSL Season 3 on. And our players, they're getting ready to go. Solar versus Zoun here to kick off RSL Season 3. A Protoss versus Zerg on the new patch, on the new maps here in the final season of RSL in 2025. Let's get started, man.
Yeah, Solar vs. Zoun starting now, excuse me, as we christen the day with Season 3. And, look, right off the bat, guys, obviously Zoun here in the upper left and Solar in the top right. But, yeah, this is a new patch. And, it's funny. Sometimes the StarCraft, some voices of the StarCraft scene frustrate me so much. Like, the new patch comes out, and I am personally so excited because that means Blizzard is taking care of the game. So other people, if they see the patch, they go, this is not the right fix for the game. And I go, I think you're missing the point. If they patch one thing and it's not perfect, they can patch it again, right? The point is that Blizzard's actually maintaining the game. And so let's see what the matchup looks like. This is my first cast going into this. I think the same is true for you, State, right?
Yeah, I've been watching a bunch, but it's been new, getting used to this. I was playing a ton of ladder games, especially when the first patch released. If you haven't been following the news, there are a ton of videos, especially on YouTube, from content creators like Zombie Grub that have go into the details of exactly what the patch is. But brass tacks, the main points, Storm got a pretty significant rework. It lasts longer now, but the DPS is lower. The size is also bigger, so it's not quite as punchy as it was before. It's not as explosive, but it's a very good zoning tool, although Protoss players have shied away a little bit from the games I've been seeing recently, but also other abilities getting reworked, like Microbial Shroud, this Infestor ability, which I feel like we basically never got to see before.
Right.
We're getting players using this all the time now because in Hive, it's basically like having Dark Swarm. It doesn't just block the damage coming in from air units, it's from any range unit, which is really cool. Mutilating Bane is also coming back into this. I was talking with Sturgeon earlier. He, being a Zerg player, is very excited about this. The Spire is cheaper. It gets online faster. It's just so much fun having a patch like this, especially because it came from Blizzard. This is the first OG Blizzard patch we've had in I don't know how many years, Tasteless.
It's cool, man. It's very welcome. And, it's interesting to see them kind of lean towards the Dark Swarm spell from StarCraft 1, which is probably the most impactful spell in any RTS game that I can think of. I mean, all the Blizzard RTSs, all the other RTSs I can think of that are competitive at all. Dark Swarm is kind of the most crazy, busted, high-stakes spell. And what's funny about it is in StarCraft 1, it's so good, but you can still win versus it. So it's kind of cool to see them try to bring that out here. I mean, we'll see if it's even a factor in this matchup, but I'm sure we're going to see it in this season, no matter what.
Yeah, it is a Hive Tech upgrade coming in for the Infestors, so I'm hoping we get some chances. And, for Solar, I would love to see it. By the way, cute move from Zoun, dropping the Pylon here, also with potentially an Adept. I'm looking at the minimap. No, that is just the Pro. Adept a little bit too far away to escort that Pylon and fully block the third base. But Solar in ZVP, when Blizzard initially released the patch, Storm was a little bit overtuned. It did a lot more damage. I think they actually dropped the total damage output of Storm by 30 or something in a hotfix that happened 1 or 2 weeks after the initial patch. And since then, we've had Protoss players shy a little bit further away from the Storm because up until that point, it was so good at just catapulting your economy. You can go on static defense, photon cannon, shield batteries, and Templar, and basically just survive the early game and go into carriers really quickly. It was hard for Solar or any Zerg to go for a bust, but given the new state of Storm, we've had players like Solar just get so aggressive, with lair tech timings especially. And I'm wondering if we're going to see that same approach from him here versus Zoun.
I'm curious, PvZ, not always, but in some games, we had to be pretty slow, right? It was kind of hard for either side to do anything to each other, unless they opted to do like a really aggressive timing attack, which if it works, great, you win. If it doesn't work, then you're just going to be playing from a losing position for the rest of the game. So we'll see what kind of games these two are going to offer. Right now, I mean, you wouldn't know this game's in a new patch at all, just based off the development of everything. We've got the third base coming down here. The Oracle is out to try to harass, but at the same time, the Oracle can always pull back and defend if there's too many Lings trying to hit that Nexus.
Yeah, with more Depths warping in here at the third base, it seems like Zoun's going to be very safe, although Solar, he's not committing heavily to the Lings. He has this nice pack right out front of the natural expansion. He's going for a very fast +1 melee attack, by the way. And for now, just developing really normally. He's adding in additional drones, and other gas guys are getting taken here, and there is the Baneling Nest. So it looks like Solar is really going to be going for that more combat-focused style here in the early game. And actually, look at this. Those Lings might be caught out of position. I love the Stasis Trap addition also coming in here for Zoun. He's able to get 2 drones and also completely vacate the mineral line here. And okay, nice by Solar, canceling that Spore Crawler, able to actually defuse the Stasis Trap, but this is a nice move from Zoun. Those Adepts, they don't really scale well going into the mid and the late game, but he's able to get 6 drones in total. Going to come in with the Oracle, try and get at least 1 more. Gets 2, maybe even 3. This is nice damage, Tasteless. He loses the Oracle, but I don't mind this trade that much at all.
Yeah, not bad. The Lings are going to come out. And it, a lot of Zergs have thought that maybe this matchup might change into being a little bit more one where the Zerg has to try to end the Protoss before they get too big. A lot of times in matchups, one side is trying to win with a push or a timing or something like that, and the other one is trying to basically survive that and get to a later part of the game. And you can even see this in the bell curves of how results of some games go, where it's like, oh, in the mid game, this race tends to win like 60% of the time, where the other race, the opposing race, like Zerg or Protoss, they might win in the early game or the late game, but not the mid game, depending. So, I'm trying to explore this matchup in a very different way just because the parameters have changed with the patch. But, he had enough Lings to create a threat. He didn't commit to anything so far, so this does feel like it's maybe going more in the direction of development, at least for the time being.
Yeah, on the Zerg side of things, certainly, but I kind of feel like Zoun is looking to go into, I was going to say, a timing attack, because we don't have a Templar Archive just yet, but there's actually a Fleet Beacon getting thrown down so early here. And this is odd, because usually this is the kind of thing you would throw in after you already have Storm or some other splash damage on the board, but to go for a second Stargate and a Fleet Beacon this early here from Zoun, he's just going to be relying on pure gateway units, Stalkers, Blink Stalkers with +1 weapons, trying to secure this on 3 bases. What a curious approach.
So this 4th base finishes up with the Fleet Beacon and the Stargate, like you were saying, closing it. Whenever I see the Fleet Beacon and that second Stargate in a game like this, I know that there's not going to be an attack. There literally can't be an attack from the Protoss for a while because there's just no way to get anything done. A nice scout. He does see that. And the Mothership Core coming out immediately. Very cool.
Very apt, too. We're playing on Mothership LE. Look at the minimap. This is a Mothership. We got one warping in right now here for Zoun. With carriers as well. That Robo also coming in. And it's interesting to see this kind of move come out without any Storm at all. It makes me wonder exactly how this development is going to go here for Zoun. You can see that he's not taking the 4th base just yet. I think there is a little bit of static defense here at the 3rd. Yeah, we do have at least 1 photon cannon there on the top side. 1 cannon, 1 shield battery. I guess not as much as I quite expected, but hey, he is going for that 4th base now. Still, though, no splash damage. Adding in these carriers against what is looking like will be a Hydraling Baneling timing attack is a little bit scary for the Protoss, Tasteless.
It's funny because with all the talk about Psystorm, it's funny to not have this in the game here. This is going to hit really hard. Now, Storm, they changed it to where it's a longer lasting ability. It's a bit more of a zoning tool. They've tinkered with it a little bit still, but generally, long Storm or slow Storm, that was kind of the tool that let you just at least push the DPS away for the time being. Morphing that close is going to tip the hand here. He's going to go ahead and use that slowdown field to punish some of these Zerg units. They're going to try to push through here. Maybe a little bit of an overextension there.
Yeah, the Cloak saves him a little bit, though. I like the blink forward, actually, because he knows that without Overlord speed, Solar can't get the Overseer fast enough for the Lings and Banelings to truly connect on those Stalkers. And now that the Mothership abilities are on cooldown, Solar, he's winding up for a round number 2. Did Zoun shave off enough of this army to survive? That first carrier getting focus fire down by the Hydras, but actually it looks like with just the carriers, Zoun might be holding. They're getting pretty low on HP, but the Hydra count's also getting very low.
The Hydras, there just is not enough. When you see, more Stalkers and Zealots on the ground than there are Hydras, and the Hydras are hitting the Interceptors. I talked about how this game may be a long one, but I wonder if a counterpunch from Zoun could be devastating here for Solar. The timing didn't seem to make a lot of sense, and it feels like you just have the right combination of units on the ground, the Interceptors there to be in the way as well. And, suddenly Zealot Stalker does seem to be an army that can fight the Zerg when paired with carriers.
I wonder if Solar had Overlord speed with the initial push, if he would have been able to break him with the follow-up, because I think the Lings and Banelings were getting pretty close to getting a good surround on the Charged Zealots and some other gateway units that had warped in at that Nexus, but then as soon as the Cloaking Field came in, the Overlord just wasn't close enough to reveal anything, and that gave Zoun a lot of breathing room to play with. As it is right now for Solar, you gear up for that kind of attack, especially after losing, what was it, 10 or 11 drones in total in the early game. You're not feeling very good right now, and it's basically all hands on deck. He's not going into the Hive, he's adding in the Spire, he's adding in more Banelings and Hydras. The drone count is remaining quite low. I think that Solar, he might be looking to max one more time and then just go for it.
So the Banes come through, it doesn't get enough, they don't even pay for themselves. I like this attack, the focus firing down here onto the Nexus. The Storms come down, but it doesn't matter because the Nexus is picked off. And I think in a moment like that, that is the right play, to try to target that down, run away. You know, one thing that Zoun is going to have to deal with is that, you know, Zealot, Stalker, and Carrier, Mothership too, if you want to add it into the mix, isn't nimble. It's a very slow-moving army. It's kind of like having Broodlords, right? And so all these bases at the bottom are pretty much safe, right? There's no way for Protoss to go down there and hit it. I mean, in theory, I guess he could warp in a bunch of Zealots and send it there. It hasn't happened yet. And I feel like if Zoun is going to have a counterattack, he almost has to try to push towards the Zerg's like epicenter, right? The Zerg's starting location, and, you know, thrash up the tech and overwhelm them that way. And so it's going to be up to Solar to either counterattack, or what looks like's happening here is try to take him head-to-head, which seems like it probably couldn't work.
Cloaking Field coming in clutch again. Those Corruptors are going to retreat. The Archon count very healthy right now for Zoun, 4 in total. He's only sitting at 79 drones, so he actually has more army supply than the Zerg in this moment. And with Solar having everything on the front line, this base down here in the bottom right is completely exposed. The Queen gets taken out, the drones have to vacate, and that's going to be the cue for Solar to charge in. Storms now raining down on the Lings. It looks like it might be enough for Solar, but I'm watching the supplies right now. Tasteless Zoun, he's standing strong. The Corruptors, they are able to deal with a lot of the units in the air, but with more gateway units warping in, is there actually going to be enough of a ground force for Solar to finish cleaning everything up?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because the supplies are a little bit deceptive, because it looks like it's decent for Zoun, but then you watch 1 carrier, 2, 3 go down, and it plummets pretty fast. And I think that there's a world where Solar can spike this back up. A lot of times when you have an army that's really, really complex, like what the Protoss just had, it's when you wipe it down to 0, the Zerg can do a reset that's going to be a little bit stronger.
But we saw those Zealots take down the bottom right base, and so Solar, he just doesn't have the economy in him to actually go for that reset. He's going to tap out in game number 1.
It's funny because I was mentioning earlier, like, we don't see him coming down there and attacking that area, but like he could make Zealots move down there. Yeah, it's funny. They kind of wiped each other out, but there was nothing defending that lower, that whole lower part of the map.
Yeah, and I mean, it's painful for Solar too, because, you know, with the air distance so close, the top left to the top right, you kind of need to have a lot of forces there on the front line if you want any chance of standing up against that Protoss army. And
it was not an easy cast.
No,
that was a different looking game with the patch and everything than what I was used to. But yeah, as the dust settles, it's the economy that's under threat. So Solar unable to defend that, won't be able to rebuild his army, won't be able to win that game. And yeah.
I feel like a lot of that comes down to the early game, though, honestly. The 4 Adepts going into the natural expansion and getting, I think, 9 drones in total between that and the main. Plus the Oracle also. He lost 1 Oracle at third base, but I felt like the lost mining time plus the drone kills really slowed down the growth curve for Solar, because there's a critical moment where Solar just wants to try and keep everything safe. He had the Lings on the map. They were out of position. They were out in front of the Protoss base, but they didn't actually catch the Adepts coming in from the third. And as a result, a lot of economy gets lost, and that means that the push that Zerg comes out with 3, 4, 5 minutes later, it's going to have a lot less of a punch, because you don't have all of that compounding interest on the gathering rates for the drones, right?
There is a point where you just can't lose too many workers at a high enough level. We're going to go to Maganatha here for map number 2. Zoun up with a 1-0 lead here as we continue on with day 1 of the RSL in the new patch, unpacking the new meta.
All right, players loading in. Zoun here on the bottom right, Solar in the top left as we return to the familiar Maganatha. And we were talking about this a little bit before we were discussing the patch, how, in my opinion, it feels like Protoss players are kind of shying away from Storm maybe a little bit more than is appropriate, given the changes to the ability. I feel like it might be a little bit of a knee-jerk thing, where they see the stats of the Storm and it just doesn't feel quite as strong. But personally, at least in my experience in my much lower MMR games, I think Storm is still mighty good. to get out very early, but we are getting some kind of unique approaches to gameplay as a result of it. I mean, how many PvZs have we cast in the last couple of years that look anything like that?
It looks so different.
With carriers on the back of Zealot and Stalker into a 4th base.
It did feel like maybe Solar could have had something going until the Cloak got involved. You know, so much about Hydra Bane is about the actual initial connection, right? Not, you know, a lot of other armies you have, they're going to trade blows, and you want to see if the important units or the damage dealers are going to last long enough to make it work. But Hydra Bane specifically, the damage output is so high right at once, and after the Banes hit, then you're basically able to chew through everything else with the Hydras. But if you can hiccup that or slow that down at all, like we saw Zoun do in that last game, it's really good.
Yeah, the Cloak was absolutely huge. And this is also something that was affected a little bit by the patch. Although it's hard to call it a balance change because it's a little bit complicated even for me to understand. Apparently there was some kind of bug with a mothership that has been long-standing that limited the damage output. It wasn't the actual right value. I think the targeting, something was wrong with it. And apparently that got fixed. And so the mothership packs a lot more of a punch right now than it used to. And I feel like we kind of got a glimpse of that in the previous game. You don't really think of the mothership as a fighting unit in most cases. You think of it as a spellcaster with the recall, with the time warp, with the cloaking field. But in smaller situations like that one, where the armies of the Protoss and the Zerg aren't very large, then suddenly the mothership, it actually does deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, sure. I mean, at the end of the day, it is just another unit, right, in the fight. I think the mothership's always been a funny unit because it's something that I think Blizzard has had to kind of work around constantly. You know, is it too strong? Is it actually too weak? We've seen all these different versions of the mothership. The spells changed, its abilities changed. You know, it's funny. Sometimes when I think of the mothership, I actually, in the history of StarCraft, I also think of the nuke. The nuke's one where, like, it's a cool thing on paper, but then how do you make it work in a multiplayer game where it's balanced and fair and also fun and exciting?
I like that approach, though, to game design.
Yeah.
I think if you have a really cool idea that's going to be fun to play with in game, just go with that idea and then figure out the semantics of how you actually implement that later. The mothership, I know it's kind of polarizing. There are some people who don't really like having a unit that is effectively a hero unit in StarCraft II, but
it was polarizing before the game came out.
It's so cool, though, Tasteless. Yeah. I love it so much.
I remember being like fine with it. I was like, what is the problem? Like, I think it's, you know, I don't know. You know, I think like RTS games, everybody really, it's a bit of a Rorschach test, right? Everybody's seeing something different. They're seeing what they want to see out of it.
Yeah, that is true.
So in this game, we have the Oracle coming out. Everything that I'm seeing right now points to a third base being set up. I don't think there's going to be any kind of weird... Oh, excuse me, he beat me to it. So there is the third base. And it's going to be a development game. And, you know, they're very far apart on this map. I feel like Zerg would be hard-pressed to try to do anything that would work. It also feels like a lot of, you know, timing attacks on 3 bases. The game's been out for so long. People are so solid, even in a new patch. We'll see if there's anybody that can come up with anything that can really mess you up that quickly.
Yeah, Solar has been really dangerous in ZVP with the mid-game timings, specifically lair tech timings, as opposed to going into Hive. But when you have an early game like he did in game number 1, it's not easy to make that happen. So I think if he can button up the defense a little bit better here in game number 2, which it looks like he's going to, Zoun's going for a little bit of a greedier build. He has that Nexus, I want to say like 20 or 30 seconds faster than last time, so compensation, he doesn't have the same adept count. He can't make the same play trying to kill the drones that he did in the previous game. Actually, these adepts getting caught out. The only 2 oracles have to come back from center of the map. And for Solar, this is really nice. Not only did he get a great trade on those adepts, but also he can be a little bit more comfortable now knowing that there already wasn't much of a chance of Zoun to make something happen that we had in the previous game happen again here in game number 2. But killing those adepts, there is absolutely no chance. He can drone freely.
So, charge with gates. The Zealots are hidden. It's very deliberate. It's not like he lost him back there. The Overlord's going to come in. God, you could not kill this Overlord faster right now. Seeing the 2 gates, I mean, that's going to be enough to probably intuit what's happening. You don't see the Twilight Council. You also didn't see Stalkers, right? But, you know, you could go like super mind gaming, like, oh, he's hiding the Stalkers, and I don't know. We'll see how this is handled here. I guess the point is that Solar gets most of the scout off.
Yeah, actually going for +1 range attack this time is Solar as opposed to the +1 melee. Interesting choice. I wonder if he is suspicious, as you said, of something like very fast +1 Zealots, because that could be a good answer to those Lings as long as they're able to deal with the Baneling threat. And on Solar's side of things, I'm wondering how many more drones he's going to make. He's sitting very comfortably at 60 now. This is effectively a 3-base saturation. Only needs a couple more to really cap off those last gas geysers and the main base and also the third. But if he's gearing up for a timing attack, which it kind of feels like he is, it might begin ramping up very soon. Like, we just had 4 or 5 more drones get queued up. Is he going to make any more than 66? I'm very curious.
Well, this is going to be the big question here. So many more gates finishing. The Baneling's Nest goes down, and that building makes very fast. So you have time, but the Zealots are already coming in here. They're just tearing through this. Nice surrounds. And, you know, even though the Zealots should be pretty strong, there's so many Lings here. He can kind of team them up with the Oracles. I don't know, man. It feels like Solar's fine. It's kind of funny to see this stopped, like, before the Banelings, or a single Baneling is even morphed.
Yeah. I mean, you think about that in theory, you would love to have Banelings as an answer to it, but actually just the speed with which that Solar got these Hydras out, being able to shoo away the Oracles makes things so much easier on the defense.
Something's wrong about the build, I feel like, from Zoun. Just the fact that it came out and you didn't even need the counter to stop it just feels odd. I think this counter attack is going to be insanely strong. We could go to game 3.
Yeah, Ling also potentially coming into the main base here, although... Oh, he's not going to go for the full scout. Okay, so he does stop there at the natural expansion. That Zealot still not quite fully blocking that wall in, but looks like Solar's not really gearing up for a run by just yet. And Zoun, he's doing the same thing. He's on 3 bases. This time he is getting Storm first. He needs that splash damage. And he's going into the Fleet Beacon, this time without a second Stargate. So I'm thinking a very fast Mothership is probably in the cards here for Protoss. And Solar, he's made 5 more drones after repelling that initial attack coming in from Zoun, but that's where he stopped. He's at 71 right now, and it's nothing but Banelings, Lings, and Hydras. Even the Banelings morphing in right on the front door of Protoss.
This is going to be... I don't know that he can survive this at all, honestly. He's got the 4 Templars. The Lings are going to hit over here, but I think he wants to basically come... He wants to try to kind of flank the army as it would come over here. So he didn't even defend. So he's on 3 bases. You know, the 4th base has been picked off.
Another Stasis Trap gets defused there by Solar as well. And look at the minimap. He's setting up for a mighty big surround. A ton of units here. This junction is Centrifugal Hooks finally now completed. Now the full surround coming in on Zoun's army. Those Banelings also from the top ramp. There are storms everywhere, but not enough coverage to deal with what Solar's dishing out. And just as you predicted, Tasteless, this timing attack completely barrels over Zoun. GG. We're tied up 1-1.
Okay, that was weird. Woo. That was a weird game.
It was a weird one, but I mean, I'm telling you, Solar with these layered timing attacks has been such a killer in the online cups lately.
Well, you know, I can't blame him. The patch changes the way that each of the races operate, and he says, I don't want to be in a really long game. I would like to end this game. And so he did that. I am still confused about the Zealot timing.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
That didn't make any sense. Maybe the idea is you have like a small number of Zealots at a very weird time, and if they didn't scout you at all, excuse me, if they didn't scout you at all, maybe you can surprise them, but that did not look right. Like when you see just Lings and Queens hold off a Zealot charge attack.
Yeah, it's good to mix in these kind of strategies. I think the Hydras really threw everything off quite a bit. Yeah. I wonder if this is something that is designed to snipe maybe Solar going for the really fast +1 melee attack on the Lings and just leaning really heavy into the Lings, because the upgrade's not going to be done by the time those Zealots get cross-map, and paired with the Oracles, you can probably take down the Lings very quickly, but Solar going for those Hydras so quick just completely threw a wrench in the works. I mean, either Hydras or Banelings, either of those would be a very good response to the Zealots, and Solar did have the Hydras there, so that was a very clean game coming in from Solar, and also for Zoun to commit so many minerals that early into the Zealots. You kind of force yourself into going Templar that fast. You can't really do the same thing you did in game number 1 because you have all of this gas now floating because you spent all the minerals on something else, and yeah, it fed right into Solar's hand right there, going for the Ling Baneling with Hydra play.
All right, guys, Winter Madness is where we're going to close this out. Solar versus Zoun in a very, very interesting, different-looking PvZ so far. Let's see who takes it and goes on to the winner's match. In the bottom right is Zoun, in the top left is Solar.
Winter Madness, another one of these new maps getting mixed in. My first cast here on this game. Really excited to see. I love whenever the new maps get in the pool. I don't really love playing them on the ladder because everybody just cheeses for a couple of weeks. But
no, I can totally...
Watching the pros is a lot of fun.
Yeah, even the pros a lot of times don't like it when the new maps are in the tournaments right away. No, it's funny because like I love seeing players that are like 1,000 times better than me trying to figure it out. And I love then going on those maps and stealing what they've done and trying to do it. But if I have to like try to figure it out on my own, I'm so annoyed and so frustrated.
I think we got to see a couple games on this map before, and I feel like it might be a little bit different, but maybe it's just been so long since I watched those games that my mind is playing trick on me. Anyway, game number 3 here between Solar and Zoun. Solar, it seems like his MO has just been trying to play the Lair Tech game, and game number 1 it didn't quite work out because Zoun was able to really handicap him early on with the economic pressure, killing a ton of drones. And in game number 2, where that story was not able to play out and Zoun was not able to get any kind of early momentum, Solar just completely destroyed his position in one fell swoop. It wasn't even a remotely close fight.
Right.
I wonder what game number 3 is going to look like, because for Zoun right now, you got to kind of think that you need to get some economic damage done to mitigate the threat of these mid-game timing attacks, right?
Yeah, I think he just wants to try to slow down the Zerg if he can in any way early. I don't know that he wants to try to do a timing attack that could backfire and blow up in his face. I just feel like Solar's so strong at dealing with that. He very rarely ever, gets tripped up in situations like that. But yeah, let's see. I mean, I expect an early third base here from Zoun. I am with basically 100% certain we're not going to have any kind of weird zealot timing. Maybe something else, we'll see. But, game 1, it looked funny, but it was kind of basic, right? He just sort of stayed back, teched very quickly into Mothership, and then got carriers behind that. It made it kind of hard for Solar to engage with, and then brought the game to that moment where there's really, the point of no return, even though Zerg took a big fight outside the third base of Protoss. The counterattack with the Zealots was too good. The Zerg was too concentrated, trying to hit everything at once, that it wasn't enough.
I feel like that hatchery is misplaced, but I can't tell if I'm right or not.
No,
I feel like it's one to the right, but...
Oh, it does kind of...
It really does feel that way. Maybe I'm...
No, I think it's okay, but it does look... But it might be like an optical illusion, but
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's hard to imagine.
That really trips me up, though. Yeah, I know. But that really trips me up right now. Something visually about this just doesn't seem right. Maybe, I guess it's just getting used to the new maps and the tile sets.
Yeah, it might just be, the ground is kind of bright white, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm certainly, I trust Solar way more than I trust myself
you can see Mapu measuring it with the box there.
Well, I mean, it should be 3 tiles. You should be able to fit like a gateway or a 7x core there. So I try to just visualize a gateway between the minerals and the building, but no, I think it is. I think it's just my eyes playing tricks on me.
Well, we've got this third base finishing up, and it's going to be probably, just the Stargate tech like we've had before. We're basically waiting. We have the Twilight Council started, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to have the Zealots or anything else like that. I mean, he couldn't even do Adepts. Let's not forget that's always a possibility. Or it could just be Stalkers, right? Could just be a couple more Stalkers, and he just continues to tech up and then leans harder into the Stargates.
Yeah, we do have one more Adept getting warped in. I feel like that's mostly just a safety play, because it looks like he's trying to get quite aggressive here with the initial 2 Oracles. There is a Spore Crawler already in the natural expansion, and Zoun just decides he doesn't want a piece of this at all. Is going to hightail it out of there. Actually, with the map architecture, it's a lot of a hurdle to go from that natural expansion all the way down to find a good angle into the third base.
So he's going to come up. Now, remember, we saw a lot of drones killed in Game 1, and that was really important, because that's,
Ooh.
Okay, he gets 2, 3.
That's a really good angle. I kind of felt like Zoun was not going to get anything, given the 3 Queens coming over there and the Spore Crawler finishing up, but he was able to catch Solar just barely out of position. Also going to get a Creep Timmer as well, so a little bit more energy being drained on those Queens. They have to replenish the creep spread. And interestingly from Zoun, by the way, no Forge, no +1 ground weapons, and 4 more gateways. This might just be, okay, yeah, 5th gateway. This is probably going to be a Blink Stalker timing.
Yeah. Okay, so it is a game that's not going to be hinged on trying to kind of outlast the Zerg and win with the superior tech. I think the Blink is a little bit better. He's going to... Any Lings he can kill, anything he can take out is going to be big.
Yeah, especially with +1 melee attack. On Solar side of thing, going at a +1 melee like this, it's kind of an ideal situation going up against Blink Stonkers. You really want +1 Lings. The fast +1, it changes the dynamic a lot. If those Lings finally get a connection on the Stalkers, they just absolutely shred through those shields. And with Hydras also entering the play, it's going to be tough for Zoun to find this. Are we going to have a proxy gateway? Indeed, we do. And Solar actually spotting this immediately. The Oracles, I think, are in position, as well as the Adepts shading to that pylon to keep it safe. But
you know, the proxy gateway is so strong for pushing, but if it's seen, it really does give away what's happening. So, I mean, Zerg is no longer questioning what kind of game he's in. He knows, okay, it's all about me surviving this for the next minute or two here. And if I can, I'm going to be in great shape because the Protoss is basically locked into this tech, isn't progressing and moving up the tech chain, isn't developing and upgrading more. It's all about this moment. The question is, can Solar hold it off?
Yeah, it's still not going to be easy here for Solar. He's going to have to get good surrounds with these Lings. As it is right now, these trades really good for Zoun. I think he loses just one Adept and shields on the Stalkers with Blink. And now the Hydra's coming in. This doesn't spell the end here for Zoun, but he's got to be very careful. One aggressive Blink forward could be a disaster here for Protoss. Instead, he's just very meticulously, safely blinking back, but he wants to make sure that he's keeping the pressure on. You got to trade constantly with these Stalkers. If Zerg snowballs a little bit too much, it's not going to be a winning play, but so far, it's looking really good. Only a couple of these Stalkers going down, and the Zerg army is not scaling.
Yeah, I mean, his blinks have been really good. We got a lot of bruised Stalkers here in the back. Obviously, if you blink back far enough, those weak ones get pushed up into the front, but as long as the Stalker's alive, it's still going to be doing damage. And so he's going to now rotate over here to the fourth. No drones over here, a very vulnerable spot to try to hit, but not as high a value without any workers there to kill and punish.
All right, Blink's back coming in right now. Solar is trying to find an angle, but with a creep spread, you can contain like this. Oh, we have a Ling drop. +1 Ling drop actually here in the main base. That's going to go into the natural expansion. Only 5 Lings, so probably just a couple of probes may going down. And Zoun, meanwhile, he's trying to keep this pylon alive. You can see really the damage the +1 Lings do as they shred through those Stalkers there at the gateway. And
it lives!
140 HP on the hatchery.
The hatchery's still alive. That means the Protoss has to try to dive back in again. There's still a lot here for Zoun. Zoun's going to come in the angle for the Zerg is looking very good. The Stalkers continue to blink into the back. The Hydra's still doing a decent amount of damage, but the further they push in, the more narrow the area is. Both sides back up. As this thing thaws, he's going to try to come up here once more. Is this an overextension? Sometimes hatcheries that are this low can end up being what kills the player that's pushing because they get a little bit too greedy for like 2 seconds. They overextend and they lose everything.
Yeah, and that base is really important. Even though there aren't drones mining from it right now, because Solar's pulling all the queens to the front line, Larva is probably pretty thin right now for the Zerg. Yeah, you see it right there on the units tab. There's only one. He's probably only injecting the 3rd and 4th hatchery, and so Zoun, he's going to move in once more. He finally does get that hatch. And Solar, he might have to pull back a couple of these queens and start injecting the main of the natural. Otherwise, the minerals and gas, they're just going to start floating.
Yeah.
In fact, he's already doing that, I think.
Big kill here. Protoss is still going to try to chew away at this, just keep the pressure on. The Banes have to connect to their targets. He's going to remake the hatchery. The game's not over yet, although I think Solar's in a much more complicated situation. I mean, all Zoun has to do is keep doing what he's already been doing here. He snipes one queen, he gets back out, suffering basically no losses.
Yeah, just a couple Stalkers getting thwarted there is... I like the move coming in from Zoun. He knows that Solar is probably really in pain for those larvae. He knows that he's probably expecting to have a little bit more money floating right now on Solar's side of things. Ooh, a little bit greedy with that blink. And it feels like Solar just has enough Hydras and Lings at this point that Zoun can no longer push in, and Zoun recognizes that. He's going in for a ton of charge zealots. It's the reason why we haven't seen the Stalker ball increase in size.
He's going to split this, it looks like, and basically have this hit somewhere else. So this is very different from the push we saw earlier. He's going to try to basically hit 2 different locations at once.
I wonder if the Zealots are going to be for just a huge counterattack the moment that Solar starts moving cross-map, because one of the nice things about warping in this many Zealots is that Zoun had 1,000+ gas back at home for Archons, for Templar, and actually he's not even going into Storm. I was wondering if he would use a big Charge Zealot counterattack to try and buy time for Storm to be done on his side of the map. No, he's just warping in more Archons, and so We'll see what the move is. He might be trying to prompt Solar into moving a little bit forward. Solar is seeing just the Blink Stalkers and might be thinking a 4th base could be potentially an option here for Protoss. Carriers could be an option. A Mothership could be an option. Whereas Zoun is just waiting and basically setting a trap with all these Zealots and Archons.
Okay, he's going to come up and hit really hard now. This is kind of scary. Remember, the Banes, they have to get the right connections. The Archons are actually doing a pretty good job tanking. You do not want to waste Banelings on an Archon. Zoun's going to move up here to the side. Oh my god, he's going to take out the Baneling's nest. And things are a little bit fraction here. He kind of has a couple loose ends up here at the top. This Archon's just going to get pinned up into the corner and killed off. The complexity drops way down here. And it's like neck and neck. I mean, this has been this tug of war in the middle of the map for so long here. Zerg back up on a 4th base. Things are kind of cruising at this point in time. Zerg trying to fight off creep. You got to be careful because the Protoss can kite you really, really well here.
Yeah, but losing all of those Archons, I feel like the surround potential right now for Zoun with the Zealots and the Archon just isn't quite what it was before, and so instead he's going to charge in, face this head on. There actually isn't a lot of front line here for Solar. The Baneling's now finally chasing down that pack of Zealots on the top side. That's going to give Solar the staying power to push back these Stalkers for a moment. It looked like it might be good for Zoun, but Solar fights back. Another run by getting thwarted by Zoun. He was able to take down double-digit drones previously when he attacked at 9 o'clock. This time, not going to have the same fortune as Solar starts to get closer and closer to Zoun's base.
So we have the fight continuing on over here, and the Stalkers are so low in number. I think that Zoun is going to die in the counterattack. He overextended with those Archons. He looked like he was at the brink of winning. And here we go. The Zealots are just going to get wiped out. I think we're going to have GG any second now.
Yeah, that's going to be it. GG. Solar taking series number 1 with a 2-1 win over Zoun. And some very different looking PBZs that we had in that best of 3 series tasteless.
Kind of a funny looking series.
Yeah.
I thought Zoun was going to win when he got that hatchery and was keeping the pressure on. I don't know what happened. If he clicked away and we saw some of the Zealots and the Archons like go into a corner and die.
I honestly think him attacking in was a mistake. Because you don't really have... You want a lot of... It's very odd to say this in a ZVP because usually the Protoss player is the one with the big range ball and the Zerg player is the one that's trying to get us around, but the roles are kind of reversed there. Solar has a ton of Hydras with just a small accompaniment of Lings and Banelings. His army is basically just range glass cannon units.
Yeah.
Whereas Zoun made so many Zealots. I think it was like 30-plus Zealots, maybe? By the time that fight commenced, there were also Archons added into the mix. I thought he was waiting for Solar to just try and move into the center of the map and then hit this huge surround, because I feel like if you do that as Zoun, it's probably a tough fight, but I think you really have a good chance. But then when you push into a natural expansion like that one in the choke point, there's just no surface area. Everything got cleaned up in the natural. The Zealots and Archons just got wiped off the mat, and then...
I think he overextended.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, it seemed like he had a moment, especially when a couple of the Banes hit the Archons, like, okay, this is good, but you really... It's a lot of stamina to push like that.
Yeah.
If you give up for a second, you are going to be... overextended and die. You know it's not overextended. It's our YouTube.
It's underextended.
It's underextended. It's small. It's minuscule. You guys need to go there. You need to like and subscribe. You need to leave a comment in the comment section. You got to hit the little bell icon. Go ding, ding, ding. RSL's out. Stop what you're doing.
Support us on YouTube. Honestly, any engagement, any interaction helps. If you could just subscribe, we'd appreciate it. But just as Tasteless said, clicking the bell, adding in a comment, it legitimately does help a ton.
It does help us. And this show has been, I want to say it's been a huge success. I've been super proud of what we've done here. It's been so great to put this together with you guys. But the YouTube's taking a little bit longer to get into the bloodstream of the other StarCraft people that are out there. So please like, subscribe, do all that. Subscribe to our YouTube. And we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue on here with day 1 of the RSL.
Welcome back, everybody, to day 1 of the RSL Season 3. I'm State. Joined with me is Sturgeon as we're getting ready to jump into Bunny versus MaxPax, a PvT here on the new patch, on the new maps, new season of RSL. How you feeling, Sturgeon?
Oh, man, what a time to be a StarCraft II fan. Everything feels so fresh and hype. Like you said, new maps. You know, the patch is huge. It's just a great time to be watching the game. And the first series was awesome today. I like the strats we saw. That first game especially with the quick carriers before the storm or any splash damage. That was a cool game. And Balins are back. They got that extra HP. These Hydroling Bane timings looking super strong. It's a good time.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun. You're really showing your Zerg bias right there.
I love to see Protoss units get blown up by Banelings.
Nah, it really is a blast. I feel like Hydroling Bane is probably one of my favorite compositions in any matchup in PvZ. Yeah. It's really fun. But PvT, I'm kind of wondering what this one is going to be looking like, because most of the latter games that I played after the patch, admittedly, were when Storm felt pretty busted. Back when it was doing like 140, 130 damage or whatever it was before they hot fixed it and brought it back down. So we take a look here at the group standings. Of course, this is Group A, day 1 of Season 3 of the RSL. We just wrapped up Solar versus Zoun. Solar was able to take that one 2-1. Now Bunny versus MaxPax is we're going to be banging out every single one of these groups this week.
Yeah, Solar through to that winners match. Not an easy series, it's pretty close, but he does advance. Now we have to see who's going to join him up there. Is it going to be Bunny? I think you'd probably say MaxPax is the favorite going into this.
Yeah.
But PvT, the matchup has changed a lot. I think Protoss has a bit of an advantage earlier in the game at the moment, and then Terran is kind of trying to survive for like a late game army, which can be good. But yeah, it's changed a lot. I'm curious to see what these players are going to bring to the table. I've been playing a ton, so I'm up to date on the Zerg stuff. I'm curious to watch the other matchups as well and learn what the pros are doing and how the meta's changed.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because I feel like I watch a lot of PvT and pro play, and we're seeing not a lot of Storm. It's usually straight into the Colossus. We get Charge Lot, Stalker, Colossus as kind of the go-to composition. I'm not sure if that's the way that MaxPax is going to be approaching this matchup, but we'll have to wait and see. Whereas in my games, I still feel like Storm is pretty good, and this might literally just be skill issue, like my players aren't like Clem, they aren't like Bunny, they aren't like Cure, and so maybe that's why Storm feels better.
I know you're up there on the ladder, dude.
No. I might be up there, but I'm not that up there.
I'm looking. Where are you going?
But yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to see kind of that same story here in RSL Season 3, if we're going to have a lot more Colossus play and a lot less Storm play, because again, my personal bias, I still do really like Storm, although it does feel like, even though it does more damage overall, because the DPS is lower, because it lasts longer, it doesn't quite have the same punch that it used to, and usually it's the first initial ticks of damage that really start to snowball versus the Terran, whereas, these players like Bunny, they're so good at just stimming and getting out of that, like, 1 or 2 ticks in, and it's basically, it feels like it's very little damage, right?
Yeah, I think there was, like, a really big reaction to the Storm change, where people thought it got, like, incredibly worse. And it's obviously worse. Like, let's just say it how it is.
It was too good.
Yeah, it was too good. Let's start there. It was way too good. It's been brought down. There's a bit of backlash, but we're going to see exactly how good it is as we do get into these games here. The first map in our best of 3 is going to be Tokamak, which I nailed today. I want to cast some of these new maps as well, but always good to see the classics. This map has been around for a while now. Very good, kind of standard map that we're used to, all very familiar. It's always interesting to see which players want to go for the new kind of out there maps, like the 3-player maps and the short rush distance maps, and which ones kind of like to stay with what they know, what's tried and tested, right?
I feel like we're going to see a lot more of those maps in the next week of RSL, because of course here in the group stages, best of 3, a lot of the really ones that I would say are fun get vetoed, because the pros, they're here to win. Right. They're not here to have fun.
But once you go to best of 5, you can't veto everything, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes they slip into the map, into the set, and we get to see some cool games. It is going to be Bunny in the top right as the red Terran, and MaxPax as the left, in the bottom left as the blue Protoss here.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to see MaxPax play this one. I want to see his take on the matchup. Right now, we do have... for a second, I thought it was going to be a no-scout build, but no, it's very dark here on these monitors. It's hard for a moment to see this pro moving across the map.
There he is. He's going to go across, see what's going on the Terran side of the map, check everything is looking normal, which, as we can see, so far it is.
Yeah, just a nice little gas... barracks gas opening here for Bunny. Could be a 1 gas build, so no second depot here on the ramp just yet. And yeah, my eyes, they are mostly going to be on how MaxPax navigates the mid game, but as you were hinting at, Sturgeon, it feels like Terran late game is so potent on this patch in PvT.
Right, it feels a lot better than before, right? Like obviously it's all changed and we're going to see how that unfolds, but Yeah, Terran can either go for a big time in and try and get something done, or they can try and hang on for that late game. But Protoss, before that, has a lot of room to play with. They get that third base up quicker. They get their stalkers out there. They're able to be mobile and try and make stuff happen with them. That seems to be what's we've seen recently. We'll have to see if MaxPax is going to go for that or if he's got his own take on the matchup.
Yeah, always a pleasure to see MaxPax play some PVTs. First unit coming out of the gateway will be an Adept, and that's currently boosted out, so it should be ready to meet this Reaper that's coming cross-map. And I wonder if this probe is going to be safe. I usually pull my probe back at like 145. MaxPax hit at 150. Apparently that is time enough here on Talking.
Yeah, just
I'm going to write
there.
that one down in my little notebook for my next ladder game.
Yeah, perfectly timed there. We'll get back to the mineral line all safe and sound. The Adept actually does see the Reaper. Does he? Oh, he doesn't cancel it.
Yeah, no cancel.
He doesn't cancel, so the Reaper does get in here, gets the full scout, of course, disrupts the mine in a bit. Super annoying to deal with as a Protoss. Even a probe going down.
That's one probe. That's really good there by Bunny. Nice control. MaxPax actually did have that full Reaper wall off. The Pylon and I think the Cybernex core there on the left side were able to completely block that in, but in the end, even the probe pull, not enough to save every single probe as Bunny, he doesn't even suffer any injury. You're hoping as MaxPax is going to get some compensation for sending the Adept cross-map immediately, and that compensation is ideally delaying the command center, but if you can't do that, maybe you get there before the bunker is done, you get some chip damage in on the Marines, but in this case, honestly, nothing for this initial Adept. And I'm wondering, with the second Adept coming in, if he is going to try and come through, because these SCVs, they are two-shottable. He's going to get both of them.
Wow, actually come into the shade there, picks off a couple SCVs, gets the unit as well. If he gets out with this Adept, I'd say that's worth it completely. It is getting low, but it will just get it out of there in time. The Hellion may be able to try and make chase and catch it, but it doesn't know which way it's gone necessarily. So I think overall you can say this is a pretty decent start for Bunny. Getting that probe is always nice. But here comes the Hellions moving across the map now.
Yeah, and I actually really like that there for MaxPax. Able to trade out that Adept to get 2 SCVs. His compensation is quite nice.
Yeah.
He's been feeling the burn a little bit less. PVT, to me, a little bit reminiscent of PVZ in that a lot of the success in the mid game comes down to how many worker kills get thwarted by the Protoss in the early game.
Yeah, it can snowball out of control quickly, right? It's like logarithmic, the economies in this game, A small delay in your economy can have a big effect later on. This Hellion trying to dart into the natural, but gets shooed away by these Stalkers, and here comes the Medevac as well.
I think he said, it's a 1 Widow Mine drop coming in with this Medevac. Is MaxPax just going to sacrifice this Adept to get the full scout off? See what he could see on the top side of that ramp. And with just Widow Mine, it's not that big a risk here for MaxPax, but he's going to be able to get some scouting information, and it looks like it's going to be a Blink and Prism opening here for MaxPax. Actually going up to 4 gas already, so I'm wondering if this will be Colossus.
Yeah, it's definitely on the cards. We do see this Widow Mine drop come in now. The probes are pulled in time. Just gonna...
Blink.
Okay, does get the blink off. Probe goes down, 2 total. Not the end of the world. Pretty dealt with well there. We do have a Liberator out as well, so that's going to try and siege up a mineral line. And the probe is going to move down here to take the 3rd base. And Stim is on the way here as well now.
All right, actually is going to be a Templar Archive coming in for MaxPax.
Okay.
I was wondering with that really fast 4th gas plus the Robo, if we would see a Robo facility, but no, this is going to be a little bit more of a classic opening coming in. Bit safer than it would have been some time ago, as his 3rd base is a little bit slower, and the Templar Archives also comes in at the time where you already have a lot of Blink Stalkers on the field.
Yeah, this Viking actually here to meet the Warp Prism. Super well timed there, good game sense. Is going to be able to repel that. The Liberator comes into the main of the Protoss. As the Hellion darts into the 3rd base, there's somewhat of a distraction. Ooh. And he's not paying attention. Some probes going down here. 4 is very nice. Blink is done, so this Liberator is going to have to hide in the airspace here, but he kind of did his job.
Oh, absolutely, and that's just going to be a pain in the side of MaxPax for a very long time now. Oh, I hate it whenever Liberator just sieges itself up in that corner and you
can't get rid of it.
You're like, man, if I just threw down a Stargate and made 1 border, it'd be fine. But then I would be investing like 700 resources to kill 1 Liberator, and I'd be really sad. But
dude, that was such a cool move he did there, blinking in with the Stalkers and having the Prism come through the airspace where they're going to blink, so you can instantly pick them up after they fire. Nice, cute little micro move there from MaxPax, getting the most out of his units here.
Yeah, well, you got to really do that if you're taking this damage early. I must say, it wasn't the cleanest early game here from MaxPax thus far. Yes, killing those 2 SCVs on Bunny's side of the map was a pretty good move with those 2 Adepts, but lost a lot of mining time. The 3rd base is a little bit delayed. The Liberator got quite a bit of damage done, and now he's already meeting this are moving out in the center of the map. It looks like, based on the storm timing, it should be done by the time Bunny reaches here, but how much energy are we actually going to have on these Templar? Keep in mind, energy recharge, it has been nerfed a little bit.
Yeah, it's been toned down a little bit, and you're going to have to keep a couple Stalkers at home to deal with this Liberator. Oh, I say that, and it actually gets pulled kind of at a weird time. I think you'd want to do this as the push was happening, right? And then maybe the Terran's distracted. But big storm going down on these tanks, trying to pick off as much as he can. The Terran army will just back off here, try to heal up. And yeah, Bunny getting in position here to make a push. Decides to change direction, actually.
Yeah, only 1 or 2 Marines getting taken down right there by those storms, so Bunny still got a lot of forces left. I love the Widow Mines getting mixed in on this as well, as MaxPax is going to be leaning heavily on these charge elves to try and get them on top of the bio to really make Terran feel the pain for the splash damage as MaxPax now charges in. Templar finding a very good storm right there. Gets a couple of ticks of damage on these Marines. They're actually going to stim right back into it. That's how confident Bunny is feeling as the siege tanks did get cleaned up, but Bunny, he is going to make sure that he gets some extra damage in as compensation, as MaxPax also just doing MaxPax things, going for a Zealot drop of the natural expansion, Zealot run by at the third. Bunny was able to stop the run by at the third base, building that CC on site, but this one here in the natural expansion actually finding some nice damage.
Yeah, he actually just dragged the whole mineral line there, and again in the main. This is a ton of mining time being lost here, even though that many SCVs aren't going down. And yeah, that Widow Mine shot going to go off. 4 SCVs in total. This will get cleaned up eventually, but he slowed the Terran down. He's pulled him home, and the Protoss did lose a few expensive units there. You know, we did see a High Templar go down, an Archon or two, so it wasn't like completely bad for Bunny, but now he's got to deal with his counterattack.
Yeah, absolutely. Is MaxPax is just not going to give Bunny any room to breathe with right now. I'm watching that mini-map. Looks like it's going to be a mostly center force here for MaxPax, just trying to barrel down on this third base. Elt's charging in. Widow Mine's already diffused. There's no Widow Mine shots left here in the bank.
Oh, this is so weird. The Protoss army hugging the wall over here. Again, a really good position.
I like it.
And the storm going down on the mineral line. The bio dodges the second one, but does he have enough bio here right now? Another storm goes down. There's so much Protoss right now. Another, oh, look at that wave of Zealots comes through to finish the job there. Big push by MaxPax.
Man, that game just turned on a heel so quickly. That was kind of incredible coming in from MaxPax. We had that big push out from Bunny, and it felt like the fight initially was going pretty well for Terran, but then, as our observer pointed out, there was this huge income discrepancy. Once those Zealots hit the natural expansion and dropped into the main base, we had 2 mineral lines that were basically fully pulled for at least a brief moment in time, and that mineral income advantage went from, I think, like 500 minerals a minute to more than triple that for a pretty extended period. And then right when Bunny is able to get his economy back on the rails, that's when MaxPax pushes into the third base. And it's at a moment where Bunny is still kind of trying to collect everything after this drop in the natural and the main base.
Right, yeah, he did have his third base behind the push. He wasn't all in or anything, but he needed a little bit more time to build up and get ready, build up his army a little bit. But I really like that move from MaxPax. He sent those Zealots in. It's only 4 Zealots, but the amount of damage it caused and, mining time it lost, we didn't see like a huge number of SCVs go down. It's like, oh, he lost 20 workers. No, it was only 4, but they weren't mining for so long. It really hurt him. And then, like you said, the counterattack was brutal there.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, the unsung heroes of that engagement, we had, 3 or 4 mortals that came in, and they actually got so much work done. I wasn't following that on the production tab, that he was just chronoing out immortals that entire time, but they put in the work, and MaxPax with some very good micro after kind of a shaky start. He's going to be taking game number 1, and map number 2 is already loading up, fellas. We are heading to Winter Madness for game 2 between Bunny and MaxPax.
It's going to be madness here, yeah. And just to finish up that game 1, I really liked how he made the Widow Mine shots, completely whiff with the blinks, right? He was paying attention to that. If 2 of your Widow Mines, and even the third one, I think only hit like a Zealot or 2, if all 3 of them do nothing, suddenly the Protoss force is too big, right? Like, you just can't deal with it. You need a little bit of splash on those Zealots, but yeah, it is going to be Winter Madness here in game number 2. Bunny needs to pull this back here if he wants a chance in this series to go on to the winners match. And yeah, we see that gateway going down and the barracks as well. Everything looking rather normal here as the gas is the follow-up for both of them.
Yeah, and as we have a little bit of downtime to talk about things, I noticed at the very beginning of this map, I was watching the minimap, because you could see these little, you could see the camera point of view on the minimap, right? The red screen there for Bunny and the blue one here for MaxPax. I was watching them set their screen hotkeys on the bases, because on new maps like this, it's always interesting me in terms of what is your game plan going into the map, about what base you want to take. And MaxPax, it looked like he set the base at 6 o'clock down and all the way in the center as his potential 4th base. That seemed to be the game plan. And whereas Bunny is more hugging the left side, he set it all the way at 9 o'clock. This is a super minor thing, but just for me, whenever I see a new map like this one thing that I'm always thinking about is the expansion pattern.
Wait, so you mean he's going to go like all horizontal and not take the triangle
that's
base?
kind of the way that it looked, and that surprised me. But of course, this it changes from game to game. You could easily set that as a screen hotkey, then be like, you know what, actually, I'm going to take this one. It takes a pro gamer like MaxPax a half a second to actually set that. But to me, it was really interesting to see him set that as a potential 4th base screen hotkey.
Yeah, that could be like a good launching point if you want to attack the Terran 3rd. If they take their triangle base, it would be a pretty short rush distance. I would have to see if that does come to fruition. Obviously, the game might not go to 4 bases. We saw the last one end pretty quickly. The Reaper is out, going to go across the map again, see what he can get done. He did get that probe last time, which was nice. And it's going to be an Adept on the side of MaxPax.
Man, I'm just really honed in right now on these little camera views.
This right now. I was like, he's going to say something? He's just looking at the map.
I'm also realizing they set way more screen hotkeys than I do. I got to get better about that.
How many do you use? I can do 5, and then the 6th one is like is too far.
I go from F2 to F5, so that's 4 hotkeys, and that's what I start out with, and then I'll just set whatever bases after that, you know?
Right.
But no, I'm watching MaxPax, and he's got, I think, 6 bases already set up on the screen hotkeys, including the high yield in the top right. And again, this is like the most minor of things, but hey, it's an early game PvT. We know what's going to happen. MaxPax is going to build a Twilight Council and go blink, and Bunny's going to build a factory and try and find some way to kill probes. We've been watching this game for a long time.
We know what happens. Yeah, we know how it goes. Yeah, Hellion's going to be the choice here as well. We didn't see like the Hellion Reaper kind of dive that we sometimes see. He made some Hellions, but he was also just going Marines behind it and stuff. This Adept going to try and see what it can get done here. Obviously not going to be able to get the Reaper as it's way too fast. And we'll have to see if he wants to try and dive and pick off a few SCVs again, if he thinks that's worth it or not. I think it was in the first game.
Yeah, not really in the second one, though. I feel like the Adept's just a little bit too slow across the map, although...
Enough units already there for the Terran.
Yeah, if anyone's going to make something happen, though, we'll be MaxPax. We'll
say that
see.
out. These are going to shade in and get 10 workers.
Watch him just do it right now, but I already see there's 4 Marines right here. We got the Hellion. That's just a little bit too much for these Adepts to bite off, but it is a very nice map presence for MaxPax to have.
Oh, he's actually surrounded here. Another Reaper Marine.
Is
Hellion?
he surrounded, or
is he locked in here with
him,
or is he locked in here with me? I just completely botched that, but you know what I mean. It looked like he was getting surrounded, but actually does seem to get a decent trade there and backs off. The first medevac is out. It's going to be another Widow Mine drop. Just.
I love this for MaxPax. He's going to spot the path of the
he's a genius,
the medevac's coming into. I feel like, at least for me as a Protoss player, one of the hardest things about figuring out an early game PvT on new maps is exactly what angles are the Terrans going to try and exploit to get damage done. And look at this. He already has a Stalker coming down to try and meet this. Unfortunately, that Stalker went a little bit too far to the bottom left. It's not going to see the medevac coming into the natural expansion, but we're running it back from game number 1. It's once more a 1 Widow Mine drop here.
Yeah, perfectly dealt with again. Just gets the 1 probe. That was kind of reminiscent of ZVP, like making a little vision ring with Lings. Like he had that Adept in the perfect spot to see the trajectory of that medevac. Really nice info to have, you know, just knowing where it's coming from and when. This Liberator going to come across. Last game,
it's beautiful.
He sees it again.
It's just awesome. And MaxPax, with Blink done already, this Liberator, it's not going to die, but it's going to take a fair bit of damage here.
Yeah, this Reaper actually getting into the main somehow and going to pick off a couple probes. That's something. This Hellion goes to the natural as well. This could be a little bit of damage here for Bunny. Okay, the Warpin comes in. That Hellion, can he get any more? Okay, that's pretty decent damage for 1 Hellion.
4 probes actually going down to what, a Reaper and a Hellion is kind of it's a little bit surprising.
At this point in the game?
Yeah, we've been singing MaxPax's praises in terms of map vision, but man, props to Bunny for making it work with really very little tools.
Absolutely. That Liberator is just hanging out there by that 6 o'clock base. Hasn't gone in yet. Going to wait for the right time. The Stalkers, 4 of them, will be able to shoot down SCVs, you know, 1 shot at a time. There is a tank, though, able to zone them out. And we see the Viking as well. So that should be the end of the War Prism Stalker harass here. this Liberator seems lost. He seems like he doesn't have a purpose right now, or just biding his time in that airspace. That one Marine makes it out as well.
Huh, is it actually going to go back home? I was wondering if Bunny would just park it down there at the 6 o'clock, similar to the way that he did in game number 1, and wait to try and use it to tax MaxPax's multitasking later on, but he's actually able to pivot all the way back around. I thought he might go and just regroup at the main base for a big push, just use that Liberator as a tool. Instead, he's going to the 3rd.
Actually flies over the 3rd. Okay, gonna get such a weird route it took there through the middle of the map. Felt kind of risky, but he gets away with it here. Gonna send it into the airspace up here between the main and the 3rd. That medevac is moving out as well.
Is MaxPax going to spot this too?
He's seeing everything this game, man.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Although, okay, yeah, he does finally. I was wondering if he actually did spot it, because sometimes, you know, the player, it is in their vision, but they don't actually notice it. He is moving in with the stalkers now to try and find an angle.
That War Prism is siege, though, or what do you call it when that thing does that? Deployed?
Deployed, yeah.
Yeah, it's deployed. It might actually get picked off if he's not paying attention. Okay, does undeploy it in time, but there's a Viking here as well. Has to recall it. Not the end of the world. We'll lose a little bit of HP.
Yeah, and oh no, Bunny, actually he lifts up right the moment that these stalkers are coming in, and they are going to snipe that medevac. That is 10 supply down the drain right there for Bunny. 10 military supply right before the next push is going to be coming in, so that's a big win for MaxPax.
Yeah, it looks like that was going to be good for Bunny. Like, finally Bunny was going to get a little win there, pick off the War Prism maybe, but again, MaxPax turns it around. Says, no, actually, my stalkers are there ready. I'm going to pick off your medevac. We do see a quick, well, not quick, but we do see a 3rd CC out for the Terran here. He's going to be trying to play a little bit of a longer game here. The Liberator comes back in, but doesn't seem to pick off too many workers.
Yeah, MaxPax, I think, after picking off the Liberator, after taking down the full medevac from the top right side of the map, and seeing the 3rd base already entrenched here and getting saturated, he's feeling confident enough to just immediately start expanding his infrastructure back at home. He adds in the 4th Nexus. The Templar Archive is already done. We also have a robotics bay getting started. So rapid expansion in terms of tech here for MaxPax. And I'm seeing this on the back of 4 gases, by the way, which means that he's going to have a ton of minerals behind this for Zealots.
Yeah, he's also pushing here as well. Big storms going down on the bio. They didn't dodge too well there. They ate a lot of that splash damage. Busy dealing with these Zealots as well, which are dropped into the natural. And somehow the Stalkers are in the mineral and they're blinked in. These units are all getting so weak here for Bunny.
Yeah, and MaxPax just once more hugging the wall, similar to the same way that he did in game number 1 on a different map. This time he's doing it in game number 2, really limiting the coverage of that siege tank. And now he's pushing in, and there isn't a lot of bio left here for Bunny. We are running out of storms finally here for MaxPax, but so much damage has been done. And behind this, extra tech coming in, the 4th base coming online, the CC has to lift, and MaxPax isn't done yet. He's pushing in once more, Sturgeon.
Yeah, he's not going to let it, you know, the attack finish here. He's still going. Oh, does lose that 1 High Templar on the retreat. But this is more than enough damage. He's filling out his tech tree, as you said. Colossus on the way. 4th base going down. The probe count up at 71 already. He's ready to play a late game if it needs to, you know, if it goes the distance. But he's also got, you know, a big army as well.
Yeah, he's got the full mineral saturation on 4 bases.
He is
right
cruising
now,
right now. This is everything you want as a Protoss, right?
Yeah, you just spend the gas on upgrades and on the key tech units, such as the Colossus, such as the Templar, and then everything else, you funnel it right into the Zealots. So I'm imagining we're going to have 1 or 2 more big warpins of Zealots, and then potentially aggression. But hey, MaxPax, he also doesn't need to play that game. He can just wait. He has the bigger eco. He has the better tech right now as well. He's reset Bunny's army quite substantially with that push into the 3rd base earlier. I don't know if he's going to bide his time. I'm watching Imposter right now by that 3rd base. It looks like he might be getting ready for another attack.
Yeah, a lot of bio pulled into the main there to deal with that War Prism. As the Protoss force moves in, Ghost actually at the front. Nice feedback from around the corner there. Map hacks. Not map hacks, wall hacks. You know what I mean. Yeah, he's moving in. 19 SCVs going down. Huge economic damage right now. MaxPax in complete control of game number 2.
Yeah, and this command center is so low on HP. Bunny's gonna have to stand his ground and fight, but actually that command center is just gonna get taken out right then and there. 22 SCVs also falling as MaxPax is just absolutely clobbering this army, and it looks like Bunny is gonna be tapping out MaxPax with a clean 2-0 victory here in PVT. We'll be joining Solar in the winner's badge.
Yeah, very dominant performance here in this first best of 3. You were wondering how he's gonna play PVT? Well, he showed it to us.
Yeah.
Looks like Storm is still going to be the way to go after the initial kind of blink harassment or, you know, moving out on the map, trying to pick off workers and stuff. I feel like the Liberator didn't really get as much as Bunny would like done in both games.
Yeah, the Liberator, I mean, MaxPax just dealt with it so well, especially there in game number 2. It was kind of uncanny how he was so on point with the vision in so many different instances. I mean, he saw the 2 Hellions and the Reaper because he kind of got surrounded, but it was too adept, so he was able to pick off one of those factory units.
Right.
And then later on, I think that same adept spotted the medevac, and that kind of just... What's the term where you like you toss it up for like the volleyball to like spike it down? It was like that for
I know what you mean,
or whatever. I don't know. I don't watch sports. I'm a nerd.
He laid
it up. Thank you.
Whatever you say.
There's a term for this, a sports term. I don't know what it is, but
don't ask another StarCraft guy.
He laid it up for the stalkers, and then also catching the medevac at the top right. It felt like everything that possibly could break MaxPax's way in game number 2 did. And that was very much a game of momentum.
Yeah, wow. MaxPax is just kind of map vision. The way he used just 1 or 2 units moving around the map to see everything coming at him was so good.
Yeah.
Really impressive play coming out from him.
Guys, we have the offline finals for RSL coming to you after Season 3. This is going to be on December 13th and December 14th. Make sure you mark your calendars. If you're in Korea or if you're coming to Korea, we would love to host you here. And if you would like to play, here's all the info you need for the last chance qualifiers. That sign up is going to be available on the RSL Twitter page. That is RSL Revival on Twitter, excuse me. Elmer Fudd here for a second. And that's going live today. It'll be up for 1 week. You can sign up. The LCQ will be played live. That's going to be day number 1 here of the grand finals. And then the top 4 players, of course, Classic from Season 1, Zoun from Season 2, the runner-up, and then the winner of Season 3 will be going directly into it, joined by the LCQ player. It'll be a lot of action, a lot of fun. Make sure that you sign up if you're in Korea, if you want to play. And also, make sure you get those tickets, tastelessthreads.com. You want to pick those up as soon as possible.
Do it, guys. This is what it's all about. Offline StarCraft II. It doesn't get any better than that. Watching the players, in the crowd, on the big screen, and hearing the casters in the venue. It's going to be so hype, man. I really can't wait.
All right, folks, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue on here with Group A in RSL Season 3.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to go into our third best of 3. My headset's all over the place. Just adjusted. I'm Tasteless. Joined with me is Sturgeon, and I'm going to cast MaxPax for the first time
It's
ever.
happening.
Finally. Somehow, despite me being a professional StarCraft commentator since the beta of this game, I've never been able to cast MaxPax's games. So this is cool. We're going to be going into this one. It's going to be him versus Solar. And, of course, the winner is going to be the first survivor tonight here in this group.
Absolutely. It's going to be the winner's match here. MaxPax kind of had a pretty dominant game, first set of the day. Not so easy for Solar, but he did make it happen. And in the same matchup. So I think he's going to be warmed up in the matchup. He's sort of a very strong Hydroling Bane style in all 3 of the games. So I think we'll see a lot more of that. Here is the standings so far. Solar and MaxPax 1-0 each. Zoun and Bunny will go down to that losers match, where they'll try and fight back and get out that way.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how MaxPax looks here versus Solar. We're still in, the very, very early parts of the new patch, so we're kind of wrapping our head around what exactly did the matchups look like. We're going to have some fails there. We're going to see some moments of brilliance here as well, as everybody's kind of tinkering and testing out their new ideas, their theories, and applying them here in the RSL as we kind of see what exactly the landscape, in this case for PVZ, is going to look like moving forward here as we close out 2025. In this map this time around, it's going to be Solar here in the top right, MaxPax in the bottom left, going with a pylon here at his expo.
Yeah, and the map is going to be Celestial Enclave here, which is a pretty interesting map. You have this little pocket base down, connected to your main. It doesn't have quite as many minerals, and there is this little mineral wall here, so it can be accessed that way if you do.
And if you have to step over broken glass to get there.
You put your special shoes on, and you can do that and connect your bases. But you probably wouldn't take that as your natural, obviously, because it's not as good. But we will see the gateway at the front here. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen in this map. It looks like there's such a wide area in front of this natural base.
I welcome the pocket base for
you
this
like
map.
it?
Yeah, I like it. I think it makes for some kind of interesting ideas. It's actually a pretty old concept in map making, going all the way back to the really early days of StarCraft I. This idea of like, well, let's put a base in the back, but let's not make it too good. Let's still incentivize the player to try to push out, but let's say that, like, something does happen or you get contained or you're being pushed. It's like, well, you can kind of still grow. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the more interesting maps we've got here in the pool. We'll see if it plays a factor in this matchup here tonight.
Yeah, you can also be a bit sneaky with it, right? It's a little bit harder to scout than a base that's at the front. You know, you can send a Ling in there anytime to see if that is going down or not. But the Pocket One can be a little bit harder to see. You do need an air unit or something like that to get in there. Right now, we do see pretty standard openers here. We've got the Hatch and Pool on the way. Cybercore as well, so we'll have to see what tech MaxPax is going to go for here in a second. And, yeah, everything looks pretty normal right now.
Yeah, everything pretty par for the course. So, with the matchup changing, Solar appears to want to end the game somewhere in the mid-game. He likes to go for explosive fights. He likes to go for Hydras with Banes up in the front. And this is like a common composition. It hasn't always been used or always been popular in certain matchups, but it is a tool that's brought out at times, usually as a kind of a, an interruption play here, a way to try to get in and stop the Protoss as they're progressing. And it's kind of funny to see because, Protoss still also have the option to play like that. They can also, like we saw with Zoun, he can make a bunch of gates and go for Zealots. He can make a bunch of gates and go for Stalkers and then do that push like we saw before. And I do think it would be funny if we had a game where both sides tried to do that to each other, because that means one of them is definitely wrong, but we're going to find out who that is. But this game, at least for now, seeing that MaxPax is going to go for the Void Ray. The Void Ray kind of is like one of the biggest nods to, like, I'm not going to do anything aggressive. I'm going to try to clean up and keep my side of the map safe. Maybe we will ultimately have another one of these games where it is Solar trying to come in there and cut MaxPax down, as MaxPax is trying to develop into some kind of an ultimate endgame army.
Yeah, I like the point you made there about Hydraling Bane. That's definitely coming back into fashion in this matchup. Obviously, the Bane's got the extra HP. Storm has been slightly nerfed. It was already being used before on the old patches. Sometimes it wasn't necessarily the most standard build. We saw a lot of Roach Lurker, Ling Hydra Lurker, that kind of thing. But it was still a build you could pull out and be aggressive in the mid game. And now it's even stronger. Actually, Force Speedling is going to somehow get in here, pull these probes off the line, and they're going to get into the main as well and get the full scout off. He sees there's an Oracle follow-up, denying a lot of mining time as well. I don't know if he sees that there's no pocket base there, but I mean, there couldn't be a fourth at this time anyway. But yeah, great scout there from Solar.
Yeah, nice job getting in there, at least getting an idea of what the game's going to look like so far. I do love the third base on the outside again. I like that he's... we talked about how there's that, pocket base in the back, and you could always take that and it's easier, but I think it's always better, especially if you're going to play the way MaxPax is. And I think just in Protoss in general, unless you're doing something really crazy, to try to just keep pushing out, because that base is free in the back, right? You can always take that when you're, maybe in a total endgame situation, you really can't get anything. It's like breaking open a piggy bank.
Yeah, it's always, actually, Solar wanted to take it there, but this Oracle had something to say about it. Going to get the Spore, cancel, and the drone as well. Very nice pick off there. Good kind of star sense by MaxPax, thinking, oh yeah, he's going to take the fourth base at this time. We see the follow-up, another Void Ray coming out, as well as the Twilight and the Forge. And on the side of Solar, we've seen him play a lot of quick +1 melee in his first set today. You get that Evo chamber at like 4 minutes. That's one style. The other style is going for the quicker layer and getting a Hydra Den quicker. That kind of thing. We just see the Evo chamber go down now, and it's actually going to be a Spire, Tasteless.
Yeah, well, you can get Mutas out really fast now in this version of the game. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. Void Rays are not going to be good against this. He is going to send the Void Rays out across the map, so he's not just keeping it back here. I want to take back what I was saying earlier. I said when I saw the Void Ray, I thought it was going to be just one, and I guess I'm still casting this game like it's kind of in a previous patch, but he went up to 3.
Yeah, very interesting. They're going to try and deny the fourth base. And, Spire play is really good at the moment. The build time's been reduced. It's 50 minerals and 50 gas cheaper, so you don't need to commit to the gas as quickly. Will this hatchery go down? The Queens are trying to save it. Okay, does have to cancel it, but costs him 1 Void Ray there. Yeah,
I think canceling the hatchery, though, is great. We've got another... Oh, I thought there was it's a small Void Ray coming up here. It's going to hit that one, too.
A mini Void Ray.
Yeah, wow. MaxPax continuing to commit with air. He's going to get Phoenixes here.
Dude,
Now,
he's got Phoenixes before the mutas are out, though.
Yeah, but you know, is this going to help? I mean...
But if he gets enough of them and he goes into range, it can be a very good counter. Then the Zerg has to do things like adding corruptors and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, if he gets enough mutas out right away, I feel like the mutas can do damage first. You can kind of ignore 1 or 2 Phoenixes. I don't know. This is going to be an interesting one. Psystorm coming down as well. Obviously, we've seen the big changes with Psystorm. I think the players, the viewers, I know myself personally, still kind of trying to get used to how this feels in a game and what the ultimate implications of this change in StarCraft II really are. But yeah, I think the mutas are going to come out. MaxPax, if he gets enough and controls it's okay, he should be all right. He does go for the pocket base.
Yeah, he does take that as the 4th. That's a nice safe option here for him. Those Phoenixes will be able to keep it pretty safe. Lings won't be able to join in with the mutas as well, which is kind of a strength that they have. They're so mobile. They run around. They find a weak point in the Protoss armor and they can hit it. But I feel like Solar tried to catch MaxPax off guard this game with the Spire play. But MaxPax looks super ready. Already making 2 Phoenix at a time. And Storm on the way. He looks super prepared here for this build.
Yeah, looking very strong. Nobody's taken a base that's like pretty close. I feel like this map doesn't necessarily create a lot of tension right away unless somebody wants to force something. Like, you're still on both sides. It feels very far apart. I don't know if one player necessarily wants to push into the other one. I guess that I'm kind of answering my question as I say that, because it's going to be Roach Ravager, which basically always means you're going to try to dump that supply onto them soon enough. But anyways, the travel distance is really far. We see the creep being paved down here. It's still going to be a couple screen sizes away of no creep to try to fight on. So I'm interested in how effective this can truly be. Zerg, a lot of times when they do attacks like this, the creep wants to be just off of where the Protoss' expansion actually is.
Right, and Solo, like you said, he didn't stay on mutas for very long. He just made a few. He's going into a ton of Roach Ravager. The Queens are walking across the map. He's looking to hit this timing here before there's too many Storms available. The Phoenixes come over. They want to pick up some Ravagers and some expensive targets. Right now, they're not doing too much in the natural there. There's so much Zerg right now. The Mutalisk flying as well to join up with the rest of the army. Stasis Trap doesn't catch too many units, Tasteless.
Yeah, it doesn't freeze a lot. The Zealot counterattack is huge, thrashing these drones. It does seem like MaxPax may... Well, hold on a second. Those units are going to thaw, and I don't really see what else is down here. A lot of this is just underneath our screen. Some Templars here. I don't know that they have Storm, though.
Yeah.
And, in the meanwhile, eventually it's going to be the Nexus. It's going to be actually eating the damage, and if the Nexus falls... ultimately the attack has succeeded. The Phoenixes are going to try to go for a pickup. It just doesn't really seem like there's enough material on the board here for the Protoss to win the fight, but everything's in the red. These are like 5 really squishy Ravagers.
And the problem here for Solar, though, is that if MaxPax is able to kill all these Queens, there's no more anti-air remaining, and these Void Rays and Phoenix will suddenly go uncontested. Oh, there's still the mutas alive somehow. They're going to try and do what they can, pick off some of these Phoenixes. There's so much Zerg remaining here. MaxPax's direct work account is still high. He hasn't lost too many. Frantically warping in 5 High Templar here. We'll have to see if he wants to put those, use those for Storms with energy recharge or morph them into Archons. That mortal gets picked up by the Phoenixes. Nice save there.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like Zerg has a lot, but never the right set of units to fight everything that the Protoss has. And so I love that pickup, keeping the Immortal alive. There doesn't seem to be enough ground and pound here for even after the Immortal's been killed for the Zerg to really get away with this. And eventually, if you keep doing this as Solar, you're going to be feeding into the army. Feeding into the Protoss. And, from there, the Protoss can bounce back pretty easily. Roach Ravager is never an end game plan. Right? It's kind of something you have to do at a period of time in the game. And instead, we're going to see just a full-on switch into Ling Hydra, which is kind of an interesting way to do it. It's just like, all right, we're going to go from that kind of chunky, meaty damage from the Roach Ravager into this more bursty damage and faster reinforcing damage with the Ling Hydra.
Yeah, once those Queens go down, he had no way to contest the Void Rays and Phoenix anymore, so he has to make some kind of anti-air, right? That's where the Hydras come in. But that gives MaxPax a bit of time to build up his army here, get his defenses ready. He's not making any more Phoenixes or anything like that. We do see this fleet beacon going down, though. We're not sure if he'll get to actually put that to use this game, as Solar is trying to make it happen right here, right now.
Okay, we've got a lot more units spilling down here for the Zerg. Keep in mind, MaxPax has basically been growing. He's actually going to be even on bases. All he has to do is survive this. He's been defending for minutes now in this game. And if you just look at the minimap, it's actually dead even, which is a really, really bad sign for Solar, unless Solar can pull something off in the next little bit.
Yeah, if MaxPax is able to max out here, the game becomes basically unwinnable for Solar. He is on a timer here. That one Immortal just goes down. The Void Ray is standing strong, though. Where's the Hydras to challenge these? There's a couple in the back, but not too many right now. These Immortals doing huge damage. Solar's bios have been really good this game, by the way. I didn't really mention it, but I've been watching them pick off unit and unit, again and again. But it looks like MaxPax has enough to stabilize here, and he is sitting pretty on 90 probes right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. 90 probes is a lot.
That's an insane economy.
I'm actually glad you pointed that out, because I would not have even looked at that in this game. But that's funny. He's got half his supply in workers, but he's basically just replenishing everything so quickly. And by the way, Solar has been very close to breaking MaxPax a couple of times, but if you don't actually break them, you've made no progress.
Right. He looked like he wanted to pull the trigger and jump into the natural a few times, but he doesn't quite decide to go for it. Still, he's trying to, bring the Protoss army out of the natural, away from the, the Sim City, away from the defenses, the cannons, and the shield batteries. But MaxPax not taking the bait here, standing strong, making his stand over here at this base. A lot of defense actually going down, though, in terms of cannons and stuff. So many bios as well. And finally, 14 probes going down. Is Solar actually going to be able to make this happen? I wasn't a believer for a minute, but there's suddenly a bit of Zerg here. It's very close right now. The bios, okay, not too good this time. But, this is getting this is down to the wire, man.
I mean, this is insane. I think there's just enough Immortals, it kind of doesn't matter. We saw a lot of Robos over there on the left side of that base, and you cannot charge into this many Immortals with Roach Ravager.
Okay, yeah, it looks like he has so many. Like you say, just too many Immortals, but when you see 14 probes go down, you think, oh, he's finally making progress. I looked at the work count, it was still 78. I was like, oh yeah, he's actually still got the worker lead. So MaxPax looking very strong right now.
He actually needs that supply freed up so he can make a bigger army. I mean, it's all part of the plan here.
Yeah, true.
So, this attack is dwindling here for Zerg. I mean, there's just not enough over here. I think Solar's still doing a pretty impressive job controlling and trying to make something work, but, between these really elongated new storms, the sheer volume of Immortals, and the economy that MaxPax has, MaxPax can just keep making stuff. He can just keep filling up the board with more of whatever he needs to try to fight this. And the complexity of the Protoss army is getting bigger and bigger. He's actually about to get a mothership. Well, Solar is kind of on a primitive comp. It's like Ling, Roach, Hydra, sometimes Ravagers.
Absolutely, yeah. There's not a ton of gateway units in that army. You look at it, it's all Immortal, Archon, High Templar with some, Sky units in there as well. Even the Mothership on the way now, able to put that Fleet Beacon to use finally. Yeah, the complexity, like you say, is completely in MaxPax's favor right now. And Solar doesn't look like he has a transition.
Nice attack here with these Zealots, and again, it's going to just hurt Solar a little bit more here. MaxPax, every time Solar, it seems like he's so close to doing it, he's just not actually getting any real progress here. The numbers thin out. MaxPax wins. Solar taps out. And I got to say, very impressive game there from MaxPax.
That fight was so long. It was like they were fighting at that base for like 5
years war there. And I mean, it was kind of crazy. And there were so many moments where he's so close to breaking MaxPax. And look, maybe if he can break that base that was being attacked the whole game, maybe then he can send some of his army over here and then try to keep everything else stuck in the main. But it was actually MaxPax that had the Zealot counterattacks that kept killing drones.
Yeah, able to do even more damage economically. And I love the patience from MaxPax as well. Like I said, Solar was trying to dart into the natural, make it look like he's going to dive, and then pull him back, hoping to catch MaxPax out of position. But he wasn't taking the bait. He was staying very defensive, staying near his static D. He played it so well and so patiently. I was really impressed that game.
It was something to see. So MaxPax takes game one looking really strong. Solar staying in that style that we've seen and we've been kind of talking about all day. It's kind of been a theme with him that he's trying to get in there and get the kill move. He's trying to find like the heart or whatever organ of the Protoss that he can get there and pierce and end the game. And you can see, when you're under attack like that, like we saw with with MaxPax, all you have to do is keep defending.
Right.
Keep your probe count healthy, keep your tech, and most importantly, keep your tech developing. You can't just stay on whatever tech you have. And he kind of out-teched him, and Solar saw that and tapped out.
Yeah, at some point, you can't beat that many Immortals with Storm, with Void Rays as well. I think that game came down to that moment where MaxPax finally killed all the anti-air and the Queens of Solar, and then he had nothing to challenge the Void Rays and Phoenix anymore, so he has to back off, wait for the Hydras to come online, and that gave MaxPax the time he needed to grow and get out all the units he needed to defend the future waves.
Yeah. So we're going to go into game 2. It's going to be on Magnetic North.
Ooh.
And let's see what Solar can do. Solar, in some ways he's been a little bit predictable, which doesn't matter if your execution is so good that you can make it work, but I think MaxPax played just like a perfect game back there. So hopefully Solar can play an even more perfect game and bring us to game 3. Otherwise, this is going to be a 2-0.
Yeah, I'd like to see him try a quick melee build here, a quick +1 melee, go into a Hydraling Bane maybe. That would match up better into what MaxPax did that game. It was also a really weird opening as well, with the Spire coming out and then MaxPax seeing it really early, being ready with the Phoenix. He wasn't able to commit to the Mutas. He went back into Roach Ravager quickly, tried to hit the timing as MaxPax is preparing for those Mutas. But yeah, very, very well done. The map is going to be Magnetic North, which we're just taking a look at here, Tasteless.
So this is a kind of very tall, narrow map.
A lot of gems.
Yeah.
A lot of stones and gems.
Yeah. Let's see what kind of games this gives us. I'm also interested in kind of what the expansion distribution is going to be on a map like this. Like, will it just be kind of the 5 we might expect in this sort of, like if we look at it from Solar's perspective, kind of bottom left area, those 3 remaining expansions on the outer perimeter, or is there going to be more of like expansions going in a line? I don't know.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see which bases these pro players like to take and which order they take them, as we get new maps coming into the pool and into tournaments. Super interesting to see. I like the horizontal bases. I know the triangle ones are like kind of sometimes better, but my brain is like make them all in a line and then split my army in 2 and it's easy to defend.
I think it makes for some more interesting games. The more I look at this, the more I'm like, I probably won't be them growing in a line, but I welcome maps like this with different shapes and kind of different ideas.
Absolutely.
But the question will ultimately be here. Is Solar going to give us a different game?
Right.
Is it going to be any different ideas? Because he's been a little bit. I don't want to say like one-dimensional because that's a little bit. I don't want to sound mean, but it just he's been predictable. We've seen it happen so many times, and a lot of times like. If you're about to play a player and somebody goes, oh, this guy just attacks the whole time, you just have to defend, you can do it.
Right.
If you kind of understand that their whole game plan is just to do this, it isn't the hardest thing in the world to stop. It's why in a best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, you want to have different kind of fights coming out here.
Look at these little guys down here.
Underneath the monster energy sign.
That is a crossover I didn't expect.
Yeah.
Imagine if Obi-Wan had some monster, dude.
Exactly. If the Jedis had monsters. Now, in this game, it's going to be Stargate again. I don't think MaxPax is going to do anything. What do you think? Do you think he would do any kind of timing attack here? Or I feel like he's kind of more of a macro development player.
Yeah, I agree. It's not that he can't play. I mean, he was originally known as a very aggressive player, but he's become a more and more macro player as time goes on. I think he has a wide variety of stuff he can do, though. It's actually going to be the same Void Ray opener here as well. This is pretty interesting. A lot of people open Oracle into Stalker. That's been the standard for a very long time in this matchup. And then you decide, am I going to proxy a gate and commit to the Stalkers, or am I going to get Storm as I take an extra base? That's kind of been the 2 main branches, I think, in the meta. But he's saying, no, it's actually good to get like a few Void Rays and try and target some hatches down and stuff with them.
Yeah, it's fun to see this approach. We did see that 1 hatch pop. That might have played a massive role in that last game, just because you needed to get that out to try to develop and get things moving quickly here. So it's 1 Void Ray, I believe, right? There's not a second one out in the game, and then it's going to be Oracle. So sometimes when you go to a best of 3 or best of 5, you can open up with 1 build, and then the second build in the next game can look like the first one and then deviate, and that can trick a lot of players.
Yeah, absolutely. We did see him get that one Oracle in the first game as well. I'm curious to see if he's going to add any more Void Rays or not, or if he's making it look like it's going to be a similar thing to the first game, as you kind of mentioned. The Queen is here, is going to shoot that away. He's just, looking around for Overlords right now, trying to get anything done. The one bad thing about going with Void Ray and sending it across the map is you don't always have the Oracles at the third base. If they make a ton of Lings, that's not the case, as we see. And there is going to be another Void Ray added on here.
Okay. The Void Ray going to now just kind of come around here towards the main. And we've got the Forge, the Twilight Council. Again, we still don't know exactly what kind of game it's going to be. Where that tech's about to be revealed to us. For Zerg, we have the Roach Warren with the Lair. So it's possible that we have some kind of attack that looks very similar, if not identical, to Game 1 here from Solar.
Yeah, nice little save there on that drone as well. Got down into the red HP. We see a couple Adepts trying to shade across. They probably won't commit to this as they see all these Queens. Okay, no, I take it back. He is going to move in here, going to try and trade these out for some drones. If he can get like 4 or 5, that's a pretty good trade for your initial Adepts, which aren't going to scale into the mid game.
Right.
So I like that there from MaxPax.
So this is, I love this, because, if you look at the expansions on the map, there's only 2 places he can go.
Yeah.
He has one Void Ray over here, and actually there may be something to trying to, let this start, and then immediately...
Oh, you're a genius, Tasteless!
Yeah, okay, so the idea is that they start it, and then you, snowball it down with damage, and then they lose 300 minerals,
right,
which is what he actually did there. So he kind of... It's not about just... Because I thought he was going to just park over there and try to deny the drone, but that was a cool setup.
Yeah, really cool. Even if you cancel, you still lose the money as well as the drone. So I really like that. Solar is droning up pretty well, going into the mid-60s when these pop. There's actually no Spore here, and the Queen's moved away. MaxPax finding a little angle here to pick off even more drones. This is starting to become significant. The word count even right now, normally in the 40s is when the Zerg will take over the Protoss in terms of workers. But right now we see it's pretty similar, actually. And we got 6 gates going down at a time, as well as charge right now.
Yeah, he is going to go for a timing here. And he's going to be hitting really hard.
Yeah, and Solar's actually going for Roaches, which is exactly what you want against a ton of Zealots.
Oh yes!
He gets it again. Another cancel on the 4th.
This is so funny. I guess because Void Rays can be so mobile now, yeah, you can kind of just bully hatcheries down without the ability for Zerg to punish you, without the Protoss having to sacrifice the air unit.
Yeah, right. I see now, this. Oh, sorry, carry on.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, a lot of, pushes like this that come out. Well, hold on a second. He's going to take a 4th base as well. Maybe I actually was a little bit too deterministic in how I casted this and what I saw. I thought because he had the gates down, he would have to attack with this, but he could, I guess, just tech up and get kind of a well-rounded army and stay back. And I guess that makes sense because now we have the big timing attack coming out here. A little bit ago, I thought they were both going to just be attacking into each other, like I was saying earlier, and I'm like, well, one of them's wrong. And in this case, he sees the attacks coming. He takes a 4th base. And now the Roach Ravager Queen is going to come up here and hit.
Yeah, it's actually Solar who's all in here. He's only on 56 drones right now compared to the 70 of MaxPax. There's so much Roach Ravager here. This base is gone. Well, you might be able to save it, but this is the real issue. All these Queens, Roaches, and Ravagers at the natural. Tons of bios go down these buildings. They miss the gateway somehow. That base actually lives, but I don't know if you'll ever get to mine from it. There's so many Zerg units here running into the natural, depowering all the structures of the Protoss right now. If you can stop the Immortal production, that could be huge.
Yeah, somehow this Robo is still producing. The targeting is going to take it out. There's one Immortal just in the middle of the mineral patches. And there's just this tsunami of Zerg units that are coming through here. The Nexus can't last much longer, I don't think. The probes have all fallen. I mean, the numbers are just so overwhelming. I don't see any world where you could come back from this.
There's so much Zerg. Archon's actually morphing there right in the face of these Roaches. Will just probably fall.
The Void Rays are actually so high in number. Can they just...
There's a lot of Queens, though. I think the Queens can deal with this. They do have good range on the anti-air.
I couldn't quite see how many Queens are down there. Yeah,
so much Zerg just kind of
just so much
bunched
stuff.
up.
And so Solar does it. He goes for that timing attack. He wins. And you saw that MaxPax was trying to just assemble the classic, Protoss ground army.
Right.
And it's not going to cut it. Not for Roach Ravager. You got to have all the kind of counters in place, and you can't fight that head-to-head on the ground and expect to win.
Yeah, Solar cut drones pretty early there. Like, I think he did go above 60 initially, but then he lost so many. And I'm not sure if he was initially planning on doing that attack, or if he just thought, my 4th base has been cancelled so many times, I just have no choice now. I just got to go for it. Like, maybe he wanted to drone up that 4th base if he could get it up in time, but it was so delayed. We won't know if it was his original plan or not, but he decides to send it with the queens and the Rotrav and just so much Zerg, right? What can you say?
It was insane. There was just so much damage output there, and so ultimately MaxPax gets overwhelmed. I think he figured out that attack was coming a little bit later. It did seem like he was setting up for some kind of a timing. I don't feel like you go on 3 bases and then just get 6 gates, and then take a 4th later. But I think when he realized, okay, I can't possibly push out. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the new patch, by the way. Some of this is a little bit confusing, seeing how the players are handling this.
Yeah. I was going to say, going for like that many gateways with Zealots is not really good against a Roach all-in, right?
It's not a defensive move.
Like, what you want against Zealots is Roaches, right? Like, if you have Lings or something, the Zealots can do really well against them, but just tons of Roaches, not much you can do there as MaxPax as we move into game number 3.
So we've got MaxPax here in the bottom right and Solar in the top left. MaxPax once again going for his pylon right by his expansion. And let's see what Game 3 brings us. You know, Solar has really been consistently rushing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but he hasn't tried anything new. And maybe that is the best way to play tonight because, you know, you've got to get out of this group no matter what. We don't have that many Zergs here in RSL, by the way.
Right, true. Who do we have? We have Solar, Reyna, and Shin, right?
Yeah.
Just the 3 Zergs. Yeah, so, I mean, not to be biased, but it would be nice to see some Zergs go a little bit further. Just for some matchup variety, you know, and hopefully get one of those out to the offline finals, potentially. That would be good. I think if I'm MaxPax going to Game 3 here, I think I want to play something safe. Like, you know, go 3-base Storm and sit back a bit and then take my 4th when it's kind of safe to do so. Because, like you said, Solar's probably going to attack him, right?
Yeah, I'd be shocked if he did anything different. And I think what you want to do is get all the different tools that let you hold off rushes, and it requires different counters. Like, you want Storm, but then you probably also want Void Rays or Oracles, or, you know, some kind of mix of that that's just, they can attack ground. I think especially Void Rays, MaxPax has shown he really knows how to use, but okay, that way they have to have queens. They have to be, and that, if they have to have a lot of queens in the fight, they have to be all in, right? You just want to set up something that can kind of defend everything, and then you're going to be to a point where you just have too much tech. And the Zerg, especially if they decide to commit into you, are just going to get punished.
Yeah, and I like the point about the Void Rays and the way MaxPax uses them to deny the 4th base has been really good. Like, if you can cancel that even once or potentially twice, it really slows down that Zerg economy. Even if you make the drones, you have nowhere to put them for them to actually mine, right? If you go up to 80, for example, without that 4th base, you don't get much out of them. So I really like the denies on the 4th. There's going to be another Stargate here as well as the Adept. Similar build so far from MaxPax. We'll have to see what air units exactly he wants to make and go from there.
And it's going to be probably a slow start. I mean, right now both sides are macroing up. You know, this is right now your bread and butter PvZ opening here. We've had this in previous patches, and it seems like it's going to consistently be the same thing. You get that Stargate out, not just to have an answer to a lot of different things Zerg can throw at you, but to scout too, and possibly to harass. And you want to first and foremost try to figure out, okay, is there anything out of the ordinary? Survey what the Zerg's doing and figure out what kind of game am I in and how do I want to play this? Do I want to go for a timing attack? Do I want to try to shut them down? Or do I want to just play defensively? And of course, you know, is it going to be a game where we both kind of macro up? Do we power up into late game? And what is that going to look like in this iteration of StarCraft II with the new patch?
Absolutely. We see the Oracle first here coming out for MaxPax. Going to try and harass with these. The Overlord flies in at basically the perfect time. We'll actually see that as it spawns, so he has the perfect timing on that. Can go ahead and start his spores, so they'll be there in time as it flies over. And it's going to be a second Oracle here, so MaxPax actually mixing it up a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, so far, it's kind of the Stargate core tech, but with a couple different introductory units that can kind of allow and create different types of opportunities for you here. He does come in here, almost gets that 3rd kill, actually commits with the Adepts and does get the 3rd drone kill. This does not pay for itself. Obviously, it's not always about, you know, price. It's also about what did you actually kill. Killing drones is going to slow down the overall momentum of the Zerg. But yeah, I mean, two adept sacrifice there, probably you would have wanted a little bit more out of that, even though 4 drone kills is good. Yeah,
and the other effect is you have to send your Oracle home here to keep the 3rd base alive, as you don't have those adepts anymore. On those Spore Crawler here, he does manage to force an Extractor and a Spore with that Oracle. And we did see the early Evo Chamber from Solar as well. If you ever see that before 4 minutes, it basically always means +1 melee. So he'll be starting out with melee, with Lings, and then he'll be going into Hydras, adding in the Banelings, probably looking for a big timing here in the mid-game around, 76, 80 drones, that kind of area. Right now he's just building up that economy, trying to minimize the losses to these Oracles as much as possible.
So the Oracle going to once again move out, do a little bit of scouting. Zerg, I'm really watching the Zerg and waiting to see, are we going to have anything crazy like the Roach Warren go down here again? Right now it's melee with Banelings and the layer coming. Could be Hydraling Bane.
Yeah, this is looking very much to be so. Actually has to keep this Queen alive. These Oracles trying to pick it off there. But yeah, like you said, this is going to be Hydraling Bane. And this is a comp that you have to make something happen with, right? Especially if the Protoss goes into Storm, like at some point you do get outscaled. So normally you have a timing where you kind of hit as your +1 range is on the way and you get your first Hydra upgrade and you just send it on 80 drones and you try and kill the Protoss 4th base and kind of set them back onto 3 bases and hopefully end the game. That's what he's going to be looking for here.
And with the blink, the +1, I think nothing's going to happen for a little bit here for the Protoss. It is going to start to heat up here for the Zerg with that Hydra Den coming out here. I don't know that Protoss can take a 4th base or that makes sense to do. It's funny, we looked at the game in Game 2, and the comp there, that looked like it would have been stronger versus Ling Hydra Bane, right?
Yeah, it could have matched up better for sure.
Yeah.
If he had a timing with it or something. Yeah, the Banelings can actually deal with the Zealots if they get the big shots, but if you spread the Zealots really well, sometimes the splash just doesn't do enough. It can go both ways depending on the control and stuff, but yeah, right now we see Solar trying to take another base there. These Stalkers have to be careful. The Lings are here. They do have Blink, of course, but the Oracles actually do huge damage to the Lings. I'm not sure I like this trade for Solar right now.
Yeah, Solar probably doesn't need to do that much just yet. Protoss, I don't think is really committed to pressuring with Stalkers. I think this is just like a harass, kind of on the outside. You can lay these stasis wards down, and if the Zerg overextends, you can punish that. But, this can really be a double-edged sword, because if you lose all this, I mean, the counterattack is going to completely flatten you.
Absolutely, yeah. He's not too committed with this. He is taking this 4th base. Solar with an excellent scout, actually sees it the moment it goes down. These +1 Lings actually going to be able to take out both adepts there, which is pretty insane. The Stalkers are deep on creep right now. They got to be careful. Okay, that Stasis Ward does cover his retreat. Very nice move there by MaxPax. Tries to lay down another one. Doesn't want to get jumped on by these Lings. But Solar's already up to 82 workers. That's all he needs for this attack. That's, you want to stop at 80. So he's going to be making nothing but Hydras, Lings, and Banes, and he's going to send it once he's got his upgrades.
It's just so weird seeing the Stalker harass in a moment like this. I just worry that, it's going to be all about the other side of the map in a little bit. He's sending it back now. I think that MaxPax has to brace for impact, because this is going to hit really hard. You can see there's a 4th base being taken. There's not a lot of, defensive structures around it, kind of protecting it. I think that MaxPax has to kind of spread these Templars very evenly across the 3 possible positions he can be attacked in, and basically do that dance of defending and letting the Zerg bleed off. But instead, he's going to push out.
Yeah, there are a lot of Banelings being morphed here. He's got to be super careful. If you lose these higher Templar in the middle of the map, the game is over. You got to be so careful right now. Okay, he senses danger. He knows the attack is coming. He's trying to flank it with these Stalkers, with these Storms from the bottom side. A couple Banes roll in. He actually blinks into them. And there's a lot of Zerg right here, but where are those Banelings from before? They're rolling in now. Some High Templars going down, but he keeps some alive as well.
Man, I don't know about this. The Hydras are still on the move here. Remember that, the Storms are so different here in StarCraft II. And, Storms previously would just melt these. They would just cook the Hydras instantly. But, the Hydras can kind of drift out of them. and then just keep doing damage. And so the Hydras just have more presence. They're kind of here. They can hold this territory while the Banelings morph back in and then hit again. And I'm just worried that MaxPax might end up being too brittle. This is a lot coming in here. It's nearly a maxed out Zerg.
I just saw 7 High Templars warp in, though. If those get to morph into Archons and, there's a ton of Storms available, this is potentially doable here for MaxPax, but he's got to control almost perfectly. I love this run by hitting just as the Zerg wants to commit. Is he going to drag the Zerg army home? Not all of it, surely. That would be really, really good for MaxPax here.
Yeah, well, we saw this before with MaxPax. He's very good at trickling these few Zealots out and doing way more damage on that side of the map. The Banelings, okay, that was terrible. That was so bad. Well, that base is not mining right now. The Banes are going to try to come through here, I assume, to try to hit workers. And that they will. They're going to come through here and hit right in the back.
This is so funny. Dancing around, rolling around the workers like, are we going to blow up or not? I was just thinking, imagine if you were those Zealots warping in. You warp in just in front of like a bunch of Banelings and they just blow up on you and you die.
Just
and that's your life.
Yeah. You've been warped all the way in from Ire or wherever else. And then seconds later, but only after noticing it's cold and snowing on the map are you obliterated by a Baneling. The Archons are not great against the Hydras, but they're going to be very good against the Lings and Banes. Now, there may be Banes in such a high number, and this is so clustered that might just... Oh my god, there's hardly any shields. I think MaxPax hangs on for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's so close. He is losing workers, though, here and there, but he's kept his count quite high, still in the 70s. Those Banes did get some good connections. A ton of those units are deep in the red hit points. He's going to try and morph another wave here. Has a Spinecrawler and a Queen positioned behind the mineral line. I like that. Reduce the surface area of the Zealots. Super smart here. And +2 melee is on the way as well. I think the next wave could be where this gets decided here.
Yeah, and you can see the War Prism coming in kind of signals that MaxPax, if he holds this, is going to be ready for a counterattack. Or maybe he's going to use that to harass here. But either way, he's got plans further along in this game. But man, dude, Solar's got so much. I think he can just overpower the situation. You can see the Nexus is almost undefended as MaxPax tries to reposition to at least not lose his army. Probes being mowed down, 10 killed already, as the smaller army over here for Solar is still just toying with this army onto the side.
Wow, all that Protoss army moving up through the middle, they're going to leave this 4th base to just potentially die. It actually will go down. Huge pickoff for Solar here. He's looking in control. He actually lost a lot of army there as well, and these Zealots are running wild at this base on the other side of the map. This game is getting out of control here.
The Lings are going to come surround this. I don't think that Protoss has done enough, and I don't blame MaxPax for moving out, but I don't think this ends well for him. I think this is a real... a Hail Mary moment. Oh man! Okay.
Even the War Prism going down there.
The harass is not going to happen now. And
Right.
I mean, you would have to push through so much. And we're looking at a Protoss that's like barely on 3 bases,
Yeah, it's hard to defend against Hydraling Bane. It's even harder to attack into it on creep with similar numbers.
Yeah.
These Lings are going to find the 4th base trying to go up again. They will get the cancel there, presumably. And you can't attack onto creep here as MaxPax. I mean, the Zerg army is too fast. The Banelings will get the connections.
Okay, so I think Solar, he steps back a little bit. He knows, okay, I'm in a winning position. I can let him overextend, or I can let him kind of shark around the map, but not really do any damage because he can't attack me, and remake my base, and then I'll go kill him and win the game.
Right. Yeah, he's still on a really good work count here, up in the high 70s. And these storms have been so pivotal in keeping MaxPax alive, but at some point they may run out here. Oh, I like that. They contaminate on the Nexus. Keep that probe count low. Don't let it make too many.
Yeah, it's smart. I mean, at this point in time, Solar's doing the final punishing, killing blows. This is going to be, I think, a 360-degree amount of damage coming through here. Now, it's funny because, you see Storm when it lasts that long, and yeah, you can come out on top. Solar now actually shockingly low in supply after that.
Wow. I can't believe how well that went for MaxPax. He suddenly has a ton of army left over, but the reinforcements coming out from Solar now.
I guess the reality is Hydra Ling just will still kill Archons. Archons are...
This is close, though. MaxPax might be making this happen, Tasteless.
Did Solar try to just kind of end the game? Was he playing with his food this game? Because now this looks kind of insane, because, Protoss is just going to keep pushing forward. Hold up.
MaxPax has done it. Dude. That engage looks so good
He
for Solar.
shouldn't have stayed there.
I can't believe it.
He surrounded him, and the storm, it like melted the units that are in there, and then new units kind of moved in the place.
Wow.
I think Solar just threw so hard.
I don't know though, because I thought he did it. I thought he took the engagement well. Like he had multiple flanks, and the Baners come in.
I think it was fine, but I
think they hit Archons or something.
I think you want to just bait out storms and back up again. I think you just can't commit when the storm's there. The storm hits and you got to run away.
I 100% would have done the same thing,
I don't know.
but that was what I can't believe MaxPax was able to win that game.
It's been hard for me to get the hang of the storm in fights. A lot of times you look at an army in StarCraft II, or you see two of them together, and you go, okay, like that one's probably going to win.
That one.
That's the one. Or if they lose like this unit, you know where the fight's going to go. But that was insane.
I thought Solar had done it. Like after he killed the 4th and he was up all those workers.
After
still
he
had
killed the
an
War Prism?
Yeah, the
and
War Prism
Zealots?
as well. Yeah,
that was crazy.
Wow.
I don't know. Guys, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? We have a live event here in Seoul. It's going to be on December 13th and 14th. It is right by Yeoksam Station. That's in the Gangnam area here in Seoul. We've got regular tickets for, regular gamers. And then we've got premium tickets.
Your bog standard gamers.
Yeah, your bog standard gamers. And we've got premium tickets for the country club gamers. So look, if you want to come down, I think these tickets, we got, especially the regular one, is very reasonably priced. It's 2 days of nonstop StarCraft action in the heart of Seoul, the heart of where all of esports started. They're still for sale, although the premiums have we've sold quite a bit. So if you're thinking about getting that, you should probably jump on that pretty soon. These are going to be on sale as the RSL continues on here, but we do have a cutoff. We will eventually, if we sell out enough, we can't let more people in. Yeah. Because otherwise there's a fire in there and then everybody dies. We don't want that. Do you want that? You don't want that. Nobody wants that. So
get your tickets early, guys. Tasteless will be on the door.
Tasteless Threads. I probably won't be at the door, but somebody will be.
Tasteless, if you don't have a ticket, it will send you home.
Yeah,
back on the airplane.
I'll be stacking the chairs or unstacking the chairs. I'll probably be doing a lot of stuff for this event. But you want to come down. There's hardly any live StarCraft II anymore, but we're putting one on. So we do hope you consider coming down and joining us. And obviously, if you can't, no problem. You can join us online. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to go to the losers match here and see who will be eliminated tonight in the RSL.
We are continuing on with day 1 of the RSL Season 3, and we're getting ready to go into our next match. Sturgeon, that was a pretty spicy one that you and Tasteless just casted.
Yeah, the end of that game was wild. I want to see it from replay again. I want to have them resume from replay. I want to see that moment again because I was really surprised how he was able to lose his 4th and not defend the attack.
MaxPax, you mean?
Yeah, MaxPax, but then just push and win on creep.
Yeah,
it was a pretty wild moment.
Yeah, the fight was pretty spectacular, and that's gonna be MaxPax going into the playoffs in first place. Wow. Solar will fall into the final match. He's gonna wait and find his opponent from the winner of this upcoming best of 3 between Zoun and Bunny. So another PVT.
All right.
I'm excited to get into it, and yeah, MaxPax showing up real strong here at RSL Season 3.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
No problem. Last season he didn't play as good as he can potentially, I feel like, but this season I feel like we're seeing his real strength. He's looking so solid today. Really good build, showing some different stuff as well with the Void Rays in those PVZs. I like that. And then going back into something more standard there at the end and just making it work. Really impressed by him today. But like I said, we will be moving on to Bunny versus Zoun, and the first map here is going to be on Tokamak.
Yeah, Tokamak, Winter Madness, and Persephone going to be the 3 sets. So only one of the new maps here in the pool, but we're guaranteed to see it there in set number 2, as the first map is loading in. Zoun versus Bunny. Zoun spawning in. The bottom left is the blue Protoss. Bunny, the red Terran, in the top right, and this is an elimination match here in the RSL. These two, one of them's going to go on to try and fight Solar for a chance of making it to the playoffs. The other one, they are done.
Right, everything on the line here. These guys have to bring out their best right now. And I just want to say how happy I am to see some good new maps in the pool as well.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so refreshing in tournament and being able to play on them as ladder as well, on the ladder as well. It's been really cool. And it's nice to see how they shape the meta as well, bring some different strategies out, that kind of thing. Super exciting stuff.
Yeah. I am still a little bit sad that, in best of threes, the pros are going to go with what they're comfortable with. We're going to have a lot of maps like Tokamak, like Maganatha, like Persephone, but I'm sure as the season continues along, we'll get a taste of those new maps because it really is fun watching the pros try and figure them out, get the optimal strategies, the optimal angles. Occasionally things don't really go the way that you plan. I know that Hero, for example, and a lot of his PvZs and some of the new maps has been even doing high ground wall-ins, which I'm still kind of scratching my head about. But
I saw everyone talking about that. Like, why is he doing that? To stop like the drone lingle in and stuff like that?
Who knows?
I'm not sure, man.
Anyway, that's PvZ. We have a PvT for you guys right now. Bunny versus Zoun. And Bunny actually going for a 2-gas opening Sturgeon, so Zoun, he's not going to get that scout off into the main base.
Denied. Sent away. Doesn't get to see anything. But you can also know that... he just lifted that depot in time there. That was a little bit sketchy, but yeah, the probe will not get in, but the Reaper and Factory will be the follow-up here, Steve.
Yeah, it should be a really fast 1-1-1 coming in here from Bunny. As we'll see exactly what kind of 2-gas pressure he's going to throw Zoun's way. I feel like in the current meta, more often than not, this is just going to be some kind of hyper-aggressive play with a goal of getting a lot of probe kills. It's usually not a kill move outright where you try and take down the natural expansion or a third base, although that could very well be the follow-up. But yeah, I'm curious what the play is going to be because we've had a lot of single Widow Mine drops come in so far today from Bunny, but I feel like with a double gas opening, that's probably not what this is going to be.
Yeah, you'd think so. We'll have to see what he wants to go for. The CC will be thrown down now. And I kind of like the Bunnies mixing it up here because if you're Zoun, you probably watched that series of MaxPax where he did like similar builds with the, like you say, the single Widow Mine drop. And maybe you're going to expect that. And this could be a bit of a curveball here coming in game 1.
Yeah, there is the one Widow Mine getting started, so we'll see if Bunny... we'll see if he's going to make more. I'm leaning towards him making more, but... it's yet to be seen, as Zoun is going to be going up the typical Protoss way here. Natural expansion is now done. That's the second Adept finishing out of that gateway, just providing some security here on the ground, and we're going to have a Twilight Council be the tech of choice. Yeah,
we'll probably see Zoun going to Blink here, as we do see Stalkers being made. No aggression with the first couple Protoss units. You can't do that, obviously, as the CC is made in the Terran's main base. Blink the follow-up. Another Medevac on the way as well as a second Widow Mine right now. And this Reaper just scouting around. He did actually go towards his third base first, just checking there's no probe hiding out there, proxying or anything crazy like that. He's actually not scouted anything right now of the Protoss.
Yeah.
Which is kind of insane. But I guess when you're doing like a 2-gas build, you know that you're going to have enough units to deal with anything, right?
Yeah, if someone's going to be aggressive, it's probably going to be you.
Right.
The 2-gas Terran. And I actually like the way the Bunny is pairing this up. He has a lot of Marines stationed in the center of the map, looking to try and intercept anything possible. This Reaper is going to poke and prod, potentially the natural expansion or in the main base, and a medevac with, I think, 2 or 3 Widow Mines getting ready to send itself into the natural expansion. It is just going to be 2, so it is different from the one Widow Mine drop we had earlier. There's 2 of them this time.
It's not the same build.
A little bit of a distraction there with the Reaper. Now the Widow Mine's coming in.
Both of them get buried. The probes are pulled very quickly, though. Looks like it's going to be 1 probe. Oh, he's delaying it. He's changing targets. He's delaying it. Oh, actually a lot of mining time lost there, but, when you open 2 gas, saves the Widow Mine as well and gets out. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah, I like that. Honestly, I hate it when Terrans change the targets on the Widow Mine. If I'm the Protoss player, no, I mean casting. You have to respect it. It just takes so much mining time away from Zoun. But come on, just pull all of the probes except 1 , bro.
I mean, as the Protoss player, you're saying, please just do it already. Like, get it over with.
Get it over with. Let me mine. You can see our wonderful observer highlighting the income disparity. Although, wow, Zoun, a Blink finished up, and he actually was able to get cross map fast enough, and also go right in the line to intercept that medevac getting back home. So
yeah, 2 Widow Mines in that medevac as well. That is costly for Zoun right now. His eco is not maybe as good as if you had a single gas opening. He's just now getting a bunker and a tank. And there's actually a Robo Bay follow up here.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was expecting from the earlier PvTs. We did have MaxPax play Bunny earlier today. That was a 2-0 win in the advantage of MaxPax. And those games, they kind of look like the way that my games look on ladder, the way that a lot of Protoss games used to look at the previous patch, where he would go to Storm very quickly and play on the back foot of that. But from my perspective, the games that I've seen, at least in Korea, we're getting a lot more Charge Lot, Blink Stalker, Colossus play, and a lot less Storm than what we saw from MaxPax. And so Zoun, he is going to be doing that same build. He's going into the Robo Bay. He's adding in the additional gateways as we have this funny dance of the Observer and the Detection here for Bunny.
Yeah, just outside the range there, being able to hit by the bio in the main. It's kind of interesting that you say we're seeing more Colossus because the Vikings are cheaper now, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of think that might not be the case, but it's interesting how the meta is changing here.
I feel like it's more a statement about how Protoss players are feeling about Storm than it is about what the Terran can do about it, But
right.
Yeah. In any case, it is going to be that Colossus tech, as even this Raven gets intercepted, and with Blink done, that is a dead Raven unless Zoun wants to play it super safe, and no.
Wow.
Why would you? Just take a little bit of hull damage and take the free Raven. Not the best of early starts here for Bunny.
Yeah, really good awareness to keep some Stalkers down there, because if that Raven gets in the airspace between your bases, it can drop turrets over and over again and again, force you to pull all your workers, be super annoying, and it's really hard to dislodge that. You basically can't dislodge it for a very long time. So huge pick off there on that Raven. Gonna be clutch. The tank's actually sieging here for some reason as the double drop moves out, just to see if they can, well, secure this third base, make sure the Stalkers don't come in.
Yeah, Bunny has been the most wild Terran player I've ever seen in the history of StarCraft II in terms of his medevac drops. That hasn't really been the way that he's played so far today, but here we go. 2 medevacs right into the main base here.
He's found a little blind spot here.
And
he's
exactly.
Going to be able to unload without being seen.
Catches
the Colossus just as it pops out. Incredible timing here. Going to go to work on that pylon. Is powering 5 gateways.
Goodness, Artosis just woke up in rural Canada in a cold sweat. He doesn't know what just happened, but 5 gateways just got empowered as well as a Robo Bay.
Dude, you were talking about some wild drops. That's as explosive as it gets. That hurts so bad as the Protoss, even denying that thermal lance upgrade. And he gets out with most of it, right? Like both medevacs, most of the bio. Huge move there by Bunny.
Oh, that's massive. I mean, Zoun had some really nice pickoffs before this. He took down the Raven free of charge. He got the medevac with the 2 Widow Mines earlier in the game, just losing a couple of probes and some mining time. Bunny needed to get a win on the board, and he certainly did with that drop. 1 Colossus, and also delaying Thermal Lance, hampering the production of the Protoss player for so long. That is certainly beneficial, but we'll see if that's going to come to fruition. As Zoun, he's not fazed by this. He's still taking the 4th base. He's still going for the double forge upgrades. He's still feeling pretty confident.
Yeah, he has a pretty scary army of Zealots moving out here right now. Like you said, that 4th base, what was this? Oh, another Widow Mine drop coming in. Double Widow Mine. That one not going to burrow until it needs to. There's even a critter there as well. I'm not sure what he was doing there. I was kind of confused. I was like, is that a Terran unit? What is going on right now? This Marine going to try and get out of there. The medevac going to hang in this airspace for a bit. He might try and go in again later when the Protoss is distracted. That could be big. But yeah, looking fairly even right now, I would say, considering how wild the game's been up until now.
And one thing that is interesting to note is that Zoun is currently floating 1,000 gas. And I feel like typically when you see this kind of style, you might even do it on 3 gas geysers, because you want to invest a lot of minerals into the Zealots, into the Stalkers. But I was going to say, it feels like with the 1,000 gas, you're probably going to be going into something like a Templar Archives coming in pretty soon. Zoun, he is throwing that down right around the same time the 4th base is finishing up. So we will eventually be having some kind of Templar transition. Now, will that be for Archons, for a full frontal assault? Or will Zoun play the slower game, as might be indicated by this 5th base, and just begin taking up into Storm?
Yeah, another base going down here. I like you mentioned the gas. He's going to have so many High Templar available to warp in once this archive finishes up here. And like you say, we'll have to see if he wants to go for Storm or not. Double upgrades on the way. 2-2 starting here as well. Yeah, this is starting to heat up. We might actually have our first proper macro PvT of the night state.
Yeah, MaxPax versus Bunny was pretty explosive to start things out tonight, but I don't know. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. We have a lot of Templar warping in, and okay, that's not at the Warp Prism, but they're still being turned into Archons. So this looks to me like Zoun is going to wait until Bunny moves out from this little shell that he's made for himself on 3 bases, and the moment that he either moves out into the center of the map or tries to take the 4th base, that might be Zoun's cue to go, or he might just wait until he's maxed. We're going to find out pretty soon. Yeah,
I'm getting mixed signals here, because he's making Stack D, he's adding a second Robo, but he's not getting Storm, which is pretty interesting. If you want to play the late game, obviously you want to have a Storm at some point. I was like, did I miss it? But I don't think I've seen it so far, so we'll have to see if he adds that at some point here. And he's just posturing outside the bases of Bunny right now, who's starting to get towards maxed out, which can be pretty good as a Terran right now. And yeah, a lot more gates going down as well. 6 more gates. The production going to be insane for Zoun.
Yeah, Zoun is going to be able to remax so quickly as he doesn't know exactly when Bunny's going to be taking this 4th base, and Bunny getting a glimpse of this army right now with the sensor tower. We'll see if he scans to follow that up. And actually, these Zealots already getting the main base. Ooh, they even got a Ghost to kick things off.
Wow.
That one Ghost finally able to take down the Warp Prism in the main base. And I think Zoun's going to be looking to try and take down that 4th Nexus here at the top side. 12 o'clock. Protoss pushing in.
It's a really good angle for the Vikings if the Colossus overextend here, though, you know, on that high ground. But okay, Zoun will pull back there. Good defense by Bunny. You got to say it's not easy to deal with a Warp Prism and a Zealot run by at the 3rd triangle base, as well as the main Protoss force at your 4th base. So really well done by him. And it's actually going to be Disruptors, Gemini. Gemini's suddenly getting hyped at home. He's woken up. He's seen, oh my god, we got Disruptors in play right now. We're seeing the full range of tech right now. He didn't get Storm, right? Am I crazy?
I'm quite sure there is no Storm.
That's really interesting. Okay.
Yeah, no Storm.
Okay, we'll have to see if he adds that in at some point here.
I feel like you
have to add it at some point, right? Like you can afford it.
Yes, but he only just now took 2 more gases at that 4th base. Because I'm looking at it, you can't really afford it if you're going into the Stargate. This might even be for a mothership. There's a lot of gas left to be spent here for Zoun, but I do agree with you. If this continues to go on, eventually, there we go. Zoun finally getting that Storm. And I've been hearing about how good late game TVP is, Sturgeon, for quite a while, and Bunny is fully embracing it. He is playing proper Turtle Terran right now, just trying to get maxed on 4 bases. He doesn't care that Zoun is going up into, what is this, 6 expansions now?
Yeah.
He's just trying to survive.
Is that a base? Yeah, you're right, yeah. So many bases from Protoss, but Bunny's saying I'm going to make one big max out army that's going to be too strong to deal with. That's my plan. These Liberators will get spotted by the Zealots there. But that also lets Bunny know that, let him know that there's a run by available for Zoun.
Yeah, 2 more Stargates getting thrown down by Zoun, so he's going to go into 3 Stargates with a Fleet Beacon and a 2nd Cybernetics Core. So surely air upgrades will be coming in short order here for Zoun, but even though the Remax potential is certainly going to be here for Zoun, the bank isn't yet. He only has 1.3k minerals there and about 1k gas, and yeah, Bunny isn't maxed out just yet, but actually hold that thought. Zoun now pushing into the triangle 3rd base, trying to find some damage, but the SimCity really makes it hard for him to get on top of that command center. First Disruptor zoning away.
Yeah, nice control here by Zoun. Tries to blink on the Vikings while zoning with these Disruptors. Like at some point you might need something like Liberators to zone these out. We don't see those here right now. So, but is Zoun actually going to back off? These Liberators going to try and be annoying at this pace, actually walk into the range of those Stalkers and Cannons, get taken out. Vikings get onto the Colossus here, going to take one out. There's a lot of Protoss here. You got to dodge the balls when they do eventually launch. Kiting Best as back as he can right now. So many Zealots on low HP. If those can get shaved off, that could be good. 2 Colossus remain right now, and there are the Liberation Zones.
Yeah, Liberation Zones coming in, but Zoun already had a pretty good fight right there in front of Bunny's base. Bunny, the one feather in the cap that he has after that engagement is that this bought him the time he needed to try and set up this expansion on the very top left side, which, you know, as Terran in this situation, although I say that, I actually thought this was planted and probably a planetary by now, but it's actually getting stopped by a Zealot. Oh, no. I thought he was able to buy the time. He absolutely was not. That's wild.
That's unfortunate. And 3 Tempests at a time being added on here by Zoun, making that transition into the capital ships right now. And yeah, a ton of upgrades on the way, more bases. I mean, Zoun is just taking the whole map right now.
Yeah, only 82 probes, but that means he has more supply up for the army, and Bunny is struggling to get maxed at this point. He's at 170 right now. He's investing a lot in static defense as well as getting all these upgrades. 3-3 just finished, ship weapons level 2 about to be done. It's expensive what Bunny is doing, but unless he can secure another base, this is getting very tricky because Zoun is about to have enough production with 2 more Stargates getting thrown down. 3 more, he's going to have 6 Stargates in his 2nd Sturgeon. This is wild.
Yeah, I mean, Bunny making 4 Vikings at a time, which is what you need against this, but like, Zoun's production is just insane. You're going to be fighting like 250 supply effectively once that first warping comes in, as well as all the other, you know, Stargate units coming back. Oh, look at that, just dodges that storm, tries to reposition over here. Good cannon placement.
Can we get a look at the structures tab for a second? We're about to have 6 Stargates. We have 16 gateways.
29 cannons.
29 cannons.
Oh my god.
And 2 robos.
Dude's playing tower defense right now. This is insane.
This is, yeah. I mean, wow, that is a proper arc of cannons.
This
looks like a knee PB. This looks like a knee PBZ from I don't know how many years ago. Wow, 30 cannons, 10 shield batteries. I mean, the static defense, the one thing that it does really well, especially in a situation like this one where Zoun basically can take the whole map, is it covers these areas of the map without costing any supply.
Right.
You know, it might not be cost efficient, but boy, is it supply efficient. Literally 0 supply, and that gives Zoun the freedom to try and levy pressure at the top left like this.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about drops or anything like that, which can be really strong for Terran in the mid and late game as medevacs kind of become more available and cheaper. So that's super nice. Nice feedback on the Ghost right now. I'm just wondering, does either of them actually want to attack, or are they both just happy? Bunny saying, I just want to get maxed at some point, and Zoun saying, okay, you can do that. I'm going to take the whole map and make 1 million cannons and just chill with my air units here.
Yeah, Bunny is trying to make the supreme late-game army right now for Terran, but he's basically going to have to knock out 2 Protoss armies if he wants to win this game. Zoun, up until this point, he's been investing all the extra minerals and gas that he has into upgrades and into static defense. But at this point, I mean, we saw a second ago, 30 cannons, 10 shield batteries. I think he's pretty much done with the static defense for now. So that mineral bank, it's getting really big. And again, 6 Stargates, 16 gateways. We have the mothership and 3 carriers getting started. Zoun just has so much gas in the tank after this next fight, and the standing army that he's got is already fantastic too.
Yeah, there's a lot of Vikings out, but this Protoss army is so scary right now. The little flower of Vikings up the top. Zoun finally going to start to push here. He says, okay, I don't want you to get that gold base. Maybe that's his kind of trigger point where he says, you're not going to take this gold base. That's where I'm going to draw the line. You can have the 5th, but no more. Is that actually, that's not a base in the top left. Is that some units up there? I'm not sure. But yeah, maybe he wants to just keep him on 5 bases. He thinks that's enough. And if he can take, you know, all the rest of them, then he's happy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the main base, the natural and the third here for Bunny are either mined out or halfway mined out at this point. The mineral income really isn't there. And Bunny, he scans the static defense. I think it's 2 medevacs worth of units. He's like, nah, actually, I'm just going to turn around.
Yeah.
Honestly, in a map like this one, with it playing out, Bunny maybe might not be able to afford this. I wouldn't really mind seeing nukes get mixed in, just to clean up the static defense, you know?
That could be super.
Oh, there's a nuke on the production tab!
He called it.
I love it.
That would be so good if he can pick off a bunch of cannons with those. It's like the cheapest way to do it.
Yeah, it was the moment that Bunny scans and sees the cannon. He's like, no, I'm starting some nukes now. I'm not dealing with this.
That's actually why he did it, right?
Yeah.
That's funny, man.
Oh, that's great.
Bunny trying to take another base here in the top left. It would be nice if he could get that. I think he does have the gold base now. And it looks like we might finally have some action as this CC goes down. These Stalkers may be all but dead. They're going to try and join up with the rest of the Protoss force here. Not sure if they will be able to get out or not. Looks like they just will. The Terran being zoned right now. These Liberators starting to fall to the Tempest. Yeah, you want to keep those alive if possible. Okay, we have our first nuke on the way. It targets this base down here, which is not what I was expecting, quite frankly, but that's fine. There is a High Templar there and some Static D. Did he storm it?
I think he fed back and stormed it, yeah.
Oh, wow, okay, nice.
Watching the pathing of the Templar was a little bit anxiety-inducing for a moment there, so it's getting stuck on the buildings. I'm like, Zoun, I'm sure that you shift-queued this, but is it actually going to work, buddy? Yeah, he was able to deny the nuke as a result of that, as these armies just continue to posture here in the center of the map. A couple of Stalkers going down here for Zoun. I don't think he's going to mind this too much. His army is basically just capital ships storming Colossi.
Right.
This is an insane force.
It doesn't look that big, right? But like it's
all stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, but there's so many resources packed into those tech units. The fight starts to happen. Okay, a couple units going down on either side. Almost 7k in the bank though for Zoun. He can make like infinite mineral units of whatever he wants. But he doesn't have that much gas. He's only got 600 gas right now, State.
This is going to sound crazy, but I think Zoun needs more gateways. He's got 16 right now. I feel like with his bank, let's warp in 24 at a time.
Wow, yeah.
Like, let's really do it, because I'm seeing not a lot of gas, and not a lot of gas means that the Robos, the 6 Stargates, they aren't going to be very useful in terms of remax, but zealots are always good, Sturgeon.
Yeah, I mean, if you run them by, and I mean, it's difficult to deal with them, especially when you have a ton of Liberators and Vikings, right? Like, you can't stim after them and hunt them down. They can dodge the liberation zones. A little bit of harassment.
He doesn't have the vision. It's the patch. They removed the vision. You're blind. It's either, I think it's half a vision range or 1 vision range less on the Liberators. This might be the first game that I've seen where this is actually that consequential. It wasn't hitting the mineral patches.
Yeah, had to be a little bit closer there, not able to pick off any probes.
Oh, no!
Oh,
Muscle memory. Muscle memory is a beautiful thing.
Right, yeah.
It's just instinctive here for Bunny. He's like, no, this should work.
Yeah, this is how I do this, right?
Yeah.
I put it right here, and then that kills all the probes.
Yeah, remember for a couple of weeks after the initial patch, we saw players just stay in Storm a couple seconds longer than they should. And it's just like, wait, they're just not used to it lasting this long. I feel like we're still getting those growing pains right now with the Liberator Vision.
Yeah, everything has changed. The game feels quite different right now. Bunny desperately trying to take this top left base. I think if he could get that, he might start to feel happy about this game as the Protoss bases start to mine out. But we're talking about 10k minerals right now. I think you're right. We need to see a ton more gateways here. Because, like, imagine you kill the Protoss air army, and then, like, 30 Zealots warp in. And you've got a ton of air units. Like, what are you dealing with that with?
Honestly, 24 gateways I think would go a very long way, because this isn't a game that Zoun is guaranteed to win, no matter how good it looks for him right now. Buddy, he's been able to slowly but surely take more bases. It's been sketchy at times like it is right now here at this gold base with Tempest and Storm both poking in, but he's getting some damage into the static defense. He's been able to kill some of these workers. He's causing problems here for Zoun, and the fires aren't getting put out all that quickly. And my concern for Zoun is if he loses, if he fumbles one big fight with only 2,000 gas in the bank, he might just lose the game. Right. You won't be able to remax quickly enough on enough carriers, on enough Tempest, on Colossi, on whatever gas units you need. It's really the minerals that are carrying the bank right now. And with only 16 gateways, which I don't think I've ever said only 16 gateways before Sturgeon, it's a little bit scary. But still, this army, this is the Golden Armada. Look at how many carriers we have.
This is insane. So many air units here all bunched up. I think this CC may even go down. The storms last so long that it was so weird to look at, but there's a ton of Vikings here. We'll zone this army back. Both of them kind of poking at each other's gold bases a bit, harassing them. These liberations go, zones go down, and these Tempests are starting to do some work now, I feel like.
Yeah, the Storm's getting zoned out quite well by Buddy. It's a hard task being able to push this. Oh, look at this. They can't see each other.
That's so funny.
6 kills on that Ghost right now as Buddy is surely waiting for another nuke to finish.
Yeah, what do you think about nuking the bottom right base instead?
I don't think he sees it just yet.
Oh, you don't think he knows about it?
No, I think he didn't see the glare. I mean, certainly now he knows, but...
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh.
Okay, these DTs sharking around. Have to see what he wants to do with those at this point in the game. There's going to be some planetaries. Okay, scans that, does see them, so he knows DTs are on the field. That Dark Shrine's been finished for a long time, but now we're just seeing DTs for the first time here. And this little back and forth of the gold base is where all the action is happening right now.
Yeah, the gas bank, by the way, for Zoun getting considerably healthier over the last couple of minutes. He's finally saturating every single gas geyser that he's got access to, I think, and now 3,000 gas in total in the bank, so the remax potential slowly but surely rising here for Protoss. There's a couple of storms just zone the Terran army away, not really getting big damage in. And Bunny right now is 33 workers. His army is massive, 164 army supply. This is really the threat here for Zoun, is that Bunny, his army, if controlled appropriately, should be better in a straight-up fight. It's just hard to find the right angle against this many Tempests. I mean, 6 Tempests and 9 carriers, plus these storms.
Yeah, Zoun's game plan here is just to, you know, starve him out, basically. Pick off units again and again with the Tempests, and just get value over time. And Bunny's plan is to hit with one big punch with that 160 army supply. Oh, the mothership's going to go down here. Tons of carriers in the mix. These interceptors doing some work right now. I think Zoun is looking real good right now, Stave.
Yeah, what an engagement there by Zoun. The carriers, honestly, the +3 air opens just carrying so much of the weight there. Bunny might have had 160 plus army supply, but it didn't matter against a Skytoss fleet like this one. As Zoun is finally going to be able to force this planetary out of the game. It's been a point of contention for, I want to say, 5 or 10 minutes now. These bases here at the top left. And I think Zoun is going to take game number 1. 25-minute epic macro PVT. I really thought Bunny was cooking something up there. 160 plus army supply. I thought that was probably going to go better, but Zoun literally had the ideal composition. I mean, that was nothing but capital ships, a mothership, and Storm.
That's what you need, apparently. And like 8 bases.
It might have even been more than 8 bases.
It might have been more at the end there. When was the last time you saw a 13k bank?
been a while.
It's been a while. That's
honestly.
kind of unheard of. It's just ridiculous, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
Infinite interceptors. We could have seen Zealous, but he didn't go that way.
He didn't need him.
He didn't need him, apparently.
If that engagement had happened maybe 5 minutes earlier, then potentially, you know, if Bunny's able to take a better fight somehow, if he's able to catch down in a position, then maybe not having enough gateways up. I mean, it's still 16 gateways, but not being able to warp in all of those minerals worth of units and instantly remax could have come back and been a point of weakness there for Zoun, but he was just cool as a cucumber, man. He was able
cooking,
to just completely stabilize. That was a solid game. I kind of got tired casting that game.
Yeah, what a game. Like, that must be exhausting to play. The back and forth of the gold base, like you said, you have to focus 100% because if you mess up one time, the game just ends if you lose your army, right? Like, if you move in or move command into a bunch of units, you're just going to lose the game. You have to pay attention all the time. Zoun played that really well. Kind of like... At first, I was going to say it was Trigger-esque, the amount of bases he was taking. But Trigger was playing with like a ton of gateway units and multitasking and hitting like 10 locations at once. But Zoun was saying, I'm going to make the ultimate army and then, starve you out with it.
Well, I feel like I need a break after the last game, but Bunny and Zoun are gamers. They absolutely do not. They instantly queue up game number 2,
Go
and
next.
we are already getting started here. The second map on this best of 3 will be Winter Madness. Bunny in the top left, Zoun in the bottom right. And if Bunny loses this map, he is out of the RSL Season 1, and he might not have a win on the board yet, but he's been looking pretty good, honestly. I could easily see him turning this one around.
Yeah, he's definitely capable. We saw some really nice plays out of him in the last game. Just didn't go his way. I like the build he brought out with the double gas. The Widowmine drop was pretty nice. I feel like he had more of a fighting chance than he did against MaxPax, where like his harass got shut down and he felt like he was on the back foot for most of the game. We do see another double gas here coming out as well. So we'll have to see if he's going to go for a similar build or if he's going to mix it up. Not sure exactly right now. So everything just suddenly went quiet. It was like really weird.
Yeah.
We're on this snow map in the silence right now, but yeah, we'll have to see what each player wants to go for as the gateway and Nexus goes down.
Nexus before 7x score here from Zoun. A little bit greedy, but I suppose maybe it's a safer play on this one than on some of these maps with closer rush distances. Thinking back to Bunny's builds, both versus MaxPax and then in game 1 versus Zoun, I think it's been a Widowmine drop every single game. It's just been some slight variance on that idea.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to mix it up here in game number 4, or if this has just been what he practiced for TVP today.
It looks to be the case. He obviously has some confidence in it, and I feel like last game he got a little bit of damage. It denied a lot of mining time at least and got like a couple probes. But you do slow down your economy if you go for double gas. It's actually going to be double Reaper this game.
Yeah, probably a Reaper Hellion opening coming in from Bunny if I were to guess.
Nice. I think it's always good to throw one of these in a set, right? Because sometimes, especially after an exhausting game like the last one, the Protoss might not be paying attention at exactly the right moment. You may dive in and get some workers.
Yeah, especially with Zoun opting to go for a Stalker first opening instead of going double Adept, the same way that we saw MaxPax do in his opening series. If you go double Adept, you have a lot of confidence to send those 2 units cross-map and gather intel on the opponent, but when you go Stalker Adept, that one Adept gets caught out very easily, although I must say, seeing the Reapers, both of them finish up here for Zoun, is going to be ringing some alarm bells. I think he should already have a very good idea of what this is going to be, and we have 2 shield batteries go down, one in the natural, one in the main base.
Yeah, MaxPax knows Zoun knows exactly what's coming here. He's making the necessary preparations with the shield batteries, as you mentioned. And we're going to see the Hellions probably hit the natural while the Reapers jump in the main. That's kind of the classic move, right? You try and distract with one and hit with the other. Or you can bunch up everything in the natural. You have options open to you based on how the Protoss deploys their forces.
Yeah, usually you would see players just try and dive the natural expansion if there isn't a gateway wall in at the natural, but Zoun just going to be relying purely on the gateway units and the shield batteries thus far. And Bunny, he's poking forward here with the Reaper, and he confirms there's no wall in at the natural expansion, at least not yet. First gateway is getting thrown down in that choke point. Is he going to go for it?
Yeah, looks like he will here. Like you say, there is no wall, so he can join up. The Reaper's kind of indecisive. He's actually going to dive in the main, but already some units fall in here.
I think the Adept even survived right there. I might have made it down to the natural expansion. It's hard to tell whether it lived or not, but Bunny, he wasn't able to get the damage done. It seems like the Adept actually did get cleaned up there at the very last moments. It certainly looked like that shade pop, but in any case, Bunny not getting the economic damage that he was hoping for done. Just a little bit clumsy moving up into the main base. Things got really jumbled up there, but in between the Adepts, in between the Stalkers. That's 2 Hellions and a Reaper going down with no probe kills to be found at all. And when you do a build like this as Bunny, you're hoping to get at least a couple.
Right. He didn't get near the mineral line.
Yeah.
He kind of looked a bit indecisive on the ramp. I'm not sure if his plan was to go into the main from the beginning, but yeah, even though he didn't have that wall at the front that you mentioned, he was still able to defend really well. And Zoun is now sitting pretty with a +10 worker lead. Obviously, you're always a little bit ahead as a Protoss. Going to go ahead and throw down that third base as well. Pick off a Reaper would be nice. Okay, he gets one. That's good.
Yeah, he split targeting trying to get both of them. I think even with the blink, probably not able to confirm the kills, as he actually lost the read there on where the Reapers went for a moment. And now Bunny following up with a Widow Mine drop here at the natural.
Okay, nice. Whoa. Okay, nice response there by Zoun. Only 2 probes going down. That's basically the tax, right? That's what you got to pay here as the Protoss.
It very much is a tax.
The Protoss tax.
You phrase that.
You pay your 2 probes and they leave.
This medevac might get caught, by the way. Zoun, remember he was chasing down the Reapers with those stalkers. He just sent 2 down here to the left side. That medevac's already at half HP, and there isn't dead airspace at the 9 o'clock. Zoun is just going straight to that 9 o'clock. He knows that there's no airspace here. If Buddy doesn't react right away, that's a dead medevac again.
Wow.
Man,
That's
nice
what happened
instincts.
last game as well, right?
Yeah. That's twice now the Bunny's gotten some good damage done with the harassment, the Widow Mine drop, and then the Widow Mine drop on the retreat back to the main base has been intercepted.
Yeah, big move there by Zoun. Very good awareness out on the map. He's going to be going into charge here as well as the Templar Archives. And got to say he's looking pretty comfortable right now. We do have a few Stalkers at the front just to see that Terran move out timing, just to make sure that there's no crazy early third or anything like that going down. And just keeping an eye on things. The Observer will move over now and take that role. Gonna, what do you call it when it goes up like that? Deploy?
Yeah,
is
deploy.
everything deployed?
Everything's deployed, I think, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to deploy there and just see everything.
Surveillance mode, I think, is
Surveillance
the...
mode.
I think you deploy in a surveillance mode, yeah.
There's actually two Observers here, just in case he loses one, I guess. Cool. And one will actually get away on orange hit points. Very nice there.
Yeah, well done by that Observer.
And we do have Storm this game.
I love it just flying right back over. It's like, come on, scan me again, yeah.
That's so funny.
You got to pay the scan tax if you want to kill the Observer.
That's a
I'll
mule,
trade
man.
it for 2. There we go.
Okay.
That's 2 mules down.
Very nice. And he still has one more left to see exactly what is being made.
Oh,
Bunny pulling the boys. He says, I've had enough.
I wonder, did Zoun actually glimpse this? We have a shield batter. We have 2 shield batters. I think he's barely saw it. I think he must have barely seen it.
Wow.
With the Observer there, the natural expansion. Now, unfortunately for Zoun, he's not able to buy a lot of time. He would have loved to slowly kite back with these Stalkers and buy just valuable seconds.
Storm is finished. Okay, I thought they were all gonna run into that. The tanks will siege. The Widow Mines actually do burrow just the one. Okay, good shot there on the Zealots. The SCV's trying to get to the front to do their job as kind of the meat shield, but right now they're being zoned by these long-lasting storms.
Yeah, and I feel like the SCVs, they're very valuable. We can go for a straight-up push and just immediately kick off the engagement, but in a prolonged fight like this one, it feels like they're not really getting a lot of value. Zoun, he's posturing in front of the natural expansion and in front of the third base, getting ready to set up 180-degree surround. Even coming with the Zealots to the top side. Zoun from every single angle. The Storm landing on the SCVs. Blinks forward, goes for the siege tanks, and I think Zoun is going to breeze to a 2-0 victory over Bunny. He is going to face Solar in the last match here of Group A in the RSL, and Bunny, he made a valiant effort, but in the end, Zoun just a little bit too keen on this PVT. That was looking scary for a moment there with the SCV pull, but my goodness. What a timing for a Storm to finish.
Wow, it was like picture perfect. Like it finished as the SCVs tried to come up the ramp. It's like, no. They all had to run back. And it's kind of weird, like the old Storm didn't last as long, right? You can run through this long-lasting Storm here as the Terran. And obviously it does less damage, is worse overall. But in that moment, it just felt like it bought a little bit more time.
Yeah. It's better in some situations and it's worse in others, you know? It doesn't have quite the same burst damage that it used to, but in an engagement like that one where there's a ton of SCVs pulled, the Terran isn't mining much, they just drop 2 scans, so even though they pull the SCVs, they don't have a lot of mining back at home with mules.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, you know? That bought valuable seconds there for Zoun to get a couple more warp-ins, to set up the flank there with the Zealots. A very nice PVT.
I respect it from Bunny, though. Put in the boys one time at the end, say, hey, let's give it a go. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I've tried my best today. Had some good games, and that's the way it goes sometimes.
All right, fellas, if you want to support us here at the RSL, we invite you to join our community on Patreon. Patreon.com/Revive SC2. This tournament would not be possible without your support. We have a bunch of different tiers there on Patreon, not just the SCV, Stalker, and Immortal tier, which you see on your screen right now, but other tiers. And whatever you feel comfortable giving, if you can do it, feel free and give. There are all great perks there on the Patreon page, like the replay packs. There's voting for certain players to get into the tournament. There's voting for the maps in the tournament. I think some of the tiers might even have tickets to the RSL offline finals at the end of the year. So if you want to support us, we would absolutely welcome it.
Yeah, shout out to all the Patreon subscribers for voting in some awesome maps this season.
Patreon subscribers have been clutch, by the way. The map
Those guys
poll.
are so smart, Steve.
They really are.
They know the best maps. Those guys, they're switched on. They got some good maps. It's really nice to see the variety. And yeah, thank you guys so much for the support so far. Check out the Patreon.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we get back, the final match of today, it's going to be Zoun versus Solar to decide who will join MaxPax in the playoffs of the RSL. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a minute. And of course,
what's up, everybody? Welcome back. We are here to close out today's show with the final best of 3 to see who survives to the next step of this season of the RSL. It's going to be a rematch from what we had at the very start of the evening. It's going to be Zoun versus Solar.
Yeah, we're going to start where we ended, and that was a close series, one of the closest series that we've had so far today, with a 2-1 victory in the favor of Solar, but Zoun absolutely made him work for it, and now he's going to get a shot at redemption on 3 new maps: Mothership, Celestial Enclave, and Winter Madness.
So Solar's been unabashedly, consistently doing one thing, right?
I love it.
I'm fine with it. No, I'm not knocking on it. And I think, especially when you're early on in a new meta, it's still wet clay. We haven't really figured out exactly what form this is going to take. He's going to try to just keep trying this approach and see how far it can possibly get him. So we go into this game. It is going to be Zoun here in the very top left, and Solar close to the bottom right, kind of close to the center here.
Yeah, going to be on Mothership, one of the maps that I'm most excited about here in the RSL. I love having 3-player maps, and especially one as unique as this. I remember when I initially saw just the screenshot of the mini-map, I fell in love with this map. I mean, it's such a cool concept just to have a map that is basically the layout of a mothership. And then you watch games on it, and it's actually really fun. A lot of these 3-player maps, sometimes they can be super gimmicky, and sometimes based on the spawns, they can really advantage one player or one race. But I feel like the map is large enough, and the pathways are varied enough that you don't really have any of those problems that you get with some other 3-player maps. It's been really fun to watch.
And I think that there's just been a ton of great maps coming out lately in StarCraft II. And, by the way, the community on Patreon has been voting on these maps. And I think that's really helped it's important. I think pros, obviously, they need to have a voice, and balance is a concern, and kind of, is this healthy for competition? But I think it's also important to remember viewers and what they think might make interesting games. Because, this is all driven off of viewership and off of, interest of what can make something fun and interesting. In the past, we've had it where sometimes maps get a little bit too safe, or pros get a little bit too focused on just the pure balance, or the maps being too formulaic. And I think they make for occasionally stale games. Super safe, but sometimes stale games. And I'm really happy with what we've done here at RSL by bringing out, some maps that have kind of the fundamentals that, people can follow, but also have interesting ideas.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I was initially skeptical when you pitched the idea of having so many maps come in from the Patreon vote. I was like, we should only do 1 or 2. The pros aren't going to like it. And then we actually got the maps and the pros play on it. I'm like, wait, you're right. These games are really fun. Evil Heart especially. Now, if we had Evil Heart in every series, I'm not sure I would be a fan, but it's fun getting these super aggressive maps added into the mix that just kind of shakes the foundation of what makes sense in a meta. It's nice. I feel like we get a lot of cool out-of-the-box thinking, and anytime a map pool comes completely refurbished like this, all of these new maps, these are 3 maps in this best of 3 that we have not seen before, it's gonna be a good time.
Oh, yeah. And, I think that, I'll go way back for a second here. I remember just playing on, BGH back in the day, in the early days, and then I finally was like, okay, I'm going to be a man. I'm going to play on Lost Temple. And I played on Lost Temple for, a whole year. And then I remember discovering that there were these tournaments where, players would play on 9 different maps, and I'm like, what? I can't even believe this because I only had like one build and one approach. And I also get like when pros I will be so excited when a new season of ASL comes out and I see the crazy maps and I'm like, hell yeah, this is going to be so fun to cast and I can't wait to see what the pros do. And then I immediately tick those maps off.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
I go, I'm not going to learn that shit. They're
going to teach me.
Yeah, I'm not a pro gamer. I can't play that.
Who's the professional here?
What are we doing?
I agree with you. But honestly, the map pool right now, it's still very new. I think it came out on the map, or on the official ladder map pool, I want to say like 36 hours ago and some change maybe. It's a little bit confusing with the time zones, but it's very, very fresh. And I haven't really had the chance to have a proper ladder session on it, although I've seen quite a few tournaments played online with the new maps. And yeah, I'm excited. I can't think of any map off the top of my head that I want to veto just right out of the gate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. So we're going to kind of get back into this game, guys. So I was on a bit of a tangent there. But, every game Solar has done basically a barbarian at the gates. I'm going to overthrow the defenses and just topple the enemy and win the game. He kills us, right?
Oh, that's painful.
So every time he's just been trying to topple the Protoss, and I feel like the more games we have of this, the better the Protoss should be at defending it. So I'm a little worried for Solar here.
Look at this little maze of cups it has to walk through.
Yeah. He's like, I got to go through the goblet maze to get over and kill the Overlord.
Oh, no, and Solar made 4 more lings, too. He's going for the surround right now. The Oracles will protect the Stalker. That's so funny. I've never actually seen those little doodads there in the corner.
They're like, well, through the empty kimchi pots to go kill the scouting Overlord.
What are these things?
They're actually hatched facehugger eggs.
Oh no, they look like Protoss facehuggers too. That's especially brutal. And they're everywhere. They're all over. Yeah, one of these is actually the Holy Grail of Indiana Jones, just to find out which one it is.
No, that's Solar with whatever build he picks to beat Protoss. He's going to pick the wrong one and his face is going to melt off.
There's going to be some greedy rich man that comes in and picks up every individual goblet. It's like, this one's made of the most gold. This was surely the Savior's cup. But Indiana Jones knows it was the Carpenter's cup made of wood.
Surely Jesus would drink out of the cup filled with diamonds. Okay.
All right, these lings getting put to good use. Coming down to the third base here before the shield battery is done. A lot of damage being dealt here on Zoun. I think that's 3 adepts that get cleaned up. And for a Solar who's sitting happily right now in 61 drones with the Baneling Nest and more lings on the way, as well as +1 melee weapons, yeah, he's feeling very comfortable because those 2 Oracles, after the early game, they're pretty low on energy right now, Tasteless. They are not a tool that you can use willy-nilly here against these Zerglings. You have to be very calculated in terms of when you can actually activate these beams. Otherwise, when push comes to shove, you're going to have basically no energy left.
Yeah, you got to be very careful to not just get baited out there. Zoun is just setting up for that kind of classic Protoss composition. Blink. I guess I'm going for upgrades here, but Blink, Storm, you're getting the weapons upgrades here, filling this out with gateways. And back at home here, Solar, I mean, he's continuing to spread out on the map, but we have the Hydras. We've got the range, the missile attack upgrade coming here. And, I look at this, and sometimes I wonder, like, well, how many different ways can you do this, right? Like, there has to be a formula on both sides, right? That is the best way to do this, and one of them has to be the guy that actually holds it, right?
Yeah, it's tricky, though, because there's so many moving parts that got changed. Storm, it's not necessarily better or worse, in my opinion. It's different. It's better in some situations. It's worse in some situations. And Banelings are just straight up better. They get the +5 HP again once Baneling speed is done. And so you have 2 things where the Protoss' tools don't work quite the way that you're used to them working, and the Banelings push with extra HP, which is going to allow them to survive that storm a little bit better. It's going to give them some more endurance as they push into the Protoss base. And those very minor changes can actually mix things up a lot at this level when you're going for pushes like this. Oh no, Oracle falls here for Zoun. It might not seem like a big deal, but you absolutely want to have as much energy for stasis wards as possible with Solar inevitably gearing up for another layer tech timing attack.
A lot of today's games have been hinged on just popping 4th bases.
Yeah, that's
quietly
true,
getting
actually.
over there and being like, nope, and doing that once or twice, and then the later part of the game is unplayable. So Solar's going to move out. Now he's right now opening up. He wants to basically have a perfect straight line to his opponent as he tries to reinforce here. The Overseer is going to come in here. He's gooped +1.
Yeah, +1 is or +2 is gooped.
+2 is gooped.
And that might have finished.
I was just texting you. Well done. There's going to be a couple more tests in this cast state, so be careful.
I'm ready.
All right?
I'm ready.
I'm going to throw a couple of false statements here, and if you don't get them right, you're not coming back. Okay, so be careful.
Oh man.
Here comes the attack. No, hold on, not yet. He's going to get a couple more Banes out here.
Man, Solar is almost maxed to 8 minutes and 30 seconds. He has 32 more Lings about to pop. A ton of Banelings just finished up. Plus your ground weapons still might not finish because of the goop before this fight commences. And Solar looks like he's going to try and force Zoun out of position. He's attacking the 4th base, trying to pull Zoun away, and then he's simultaneously engaging here at the 3rd. It is very smart of him to pull back with this army there, posturing in front of the 3rd base, because this guarantees the kill at the 4th, and that Storm Energy, it's not getting wasted. It is buying Zoun some space and buying him some time, but it's running low.
Nice Storm over here onto the side. The Hydras can dip right out, though. Again, the Storms just don't deal damage as quickly. They just do it over a longer period of time, which does allow the Zerg to kind of outmaneuver it. You know, we've got some more Stalkers. They're bunched back behind the Nexus. The Arc here, you know, the Immortal's going to go down. No, it's not. Yes, it is! Yes! Casting.
Casting
yes, this is what we do. And, you know, it feels like Zoun, you know, it looks like he might survive the fights barely, but if you look at the supplies, Solar has so much in the mail. There's so much coming forward now.
The other Templar's going to get Focus Fire down, too, before he can get his Storm off. Energy Recharge wasn't available. The Mothership is started, but I don't think it's going to finish. Zoun is tapping out. GG is called. Solar going to win game number 1 in a very familiar fashion with a Hydraling Baneling timing. That was brutal. You know, Zoun was able to hold on the first time he played against that to start out the day. In the first best of 3, he had a Mothership finishing right when that push commenced. A little bit of a different build, different way of developing there for Zoun, and this series did not go his way.
You know, it's funny. We're watching these games where the new Psystorm is being used, and I know everybody lost their minds when the Psystorm was changed. And I remember even when I looked at it, I was like, I don't know what... It's hard for me to, like, visualize what this is going to look like or how it's going to feel. One of my bigger takeaways is like, okay, so Psystorm's there for longer, but you know, once you cast Psystorm, it's out. The energy takes a long time to come back. You can cast it, and the Hydras, as an example, they can just move out of the way. They don't take that much damage. Previously, in the earlier patches, the Storm would like obliterate whatever it hit. And I guess one of the reasons why they wanted to patch it to begin with is that there's not like a workaround for it. You can't dodge it. StarCraft I Psystorms deal more damage, but like you can run out of them a little bit. StarCraft II Psystorms are like, bam, it's there, it's immediate. It isn't as damaging as StarCraft 1, but you can't avoid the damage in the same way. But yeah, we're kind of seeing Solar kind of juke and jive and zig and zag, and eventually there's like still, you know, 12 or 14 Hydras left over, and the reinforcements come in, and you know, the longer the Hydras are there, the more damage is done.
Yeah, all right, game number 2, loading up. Solar just 1 win away of joining MaxPax as the 2 players to advance from Group A. He's spawning in the bottom left, Zoun, the red Protoss here in the top right. And Zoun has also played some really good games thus far. Solar has gotten the better of him up until this point. I think 3-1 total the map score between these two, but 2 more wins, he could make it into the playoffs, and these games happen very close, even the losses here for Zoun.
Yeah, I mean, they've been fun games, and you know, this is in some ways the funnest times to kind of learn about StarCraft and get back into watching it, because there are a whole bunch of new features, and we got to kind of figure them out. Believe it or not, it's actually not Reddit that solves it. It's actually the pros. We got this laboratory, this beautiful, perfect laboratory. It's called tournaments, and we kind of let the players figure it out. And you know, if one race or one idea becomes too dominant, okay, then we go, maybe that's overpowered. Then we can, you know, tweak it and we can tinker it. But oh no, not over the broken glass.
I love the mineral only pad.
Yeah.
They're so great.
But yeah, it's fun. It's fun to see these guys and try to figure out the new meta, try to create the new meta, really.
Yeah, it really is a blast. And honestly, with how quick Blizzard has been in terms of patching too. You know, they just released the Storm patch, and they honestly overtuned it. It lasted longer, and it did a little bit less DPS. Oh, look at the puppy right there on Solar's screen. Oh, the puppy's gonna game with him.
Oh my god.
It's puppy gaming.
He's under attack by a small Zergling on the camera.
Oh, I wish the camera was just a little bit lower so we could see the dog.
The puppy told him what build to do. Solar's disqualified. That is a real. That is a problem when you got a pet.
Oh yeah, I know. We've been playing games together lately. You've been getting harassed by Bobo.
Yeah, he shows up and he's like, "I'm here, man," and you have nothing better to do than pet my face, and I'm like, I am gonna lose all my MMR.
They try and sit on the mouse pad or something. Yeah. Oh, that's cute.
He had the dog on him.
I can't tell if the dog is still there. It's a little bit. It could be laying down. We don't know. We don't know. I completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk about the dog more. Who cares? No, that was a very cute little dog he had there.
Yeah.
So, there's been some patterns for sure here in the PVZs we've had. I mean, we're getting the Stargate opening again. Solar's going to go for Ling speed into a third base. And, I mean, look, I'm going to say it right now. He's going to go for a Hydra Den and just do the same thing. I don't see why he would try anything else. This RSL is on a more squeezed timeline than any of the others. We had to move our schedule because we thought there was going to be a major event in China that was going to overlap with our finals. So next week, it's going to be like double days.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can join us, whether you're going to be up all night in America or all day in Asia, or you're going to be up super early in Europe, we're going to have a ton of matches. But the reason why I'm mentioning that is like 2 weeks is not enough time to necessarily solve some problems in a meta, right? So maybe Solar can just ride this one all the way to the top of RSL.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually, because it's not just RSL that Solar's doing this style in. This is just the way he's approaching CVP against basically everybody. He almost took down Hero in a best-of-5 just the other day, doing basically the same kind of style. And if you can make that work in a short time frame tournament like this one, where because of the schedule crunch, it's now only 2 weeks instead of 3 weeks, well, hey, you might be able to make some real magic happen, because if players cannot adjust in time to figure out what pieces of the puzzle are missing to stop that push from breaking them so consistently, and it's not impossible. We have seen Zoun do it even today. He won one of those games where Solar went for this style of push. But being able to figure out how to deal with it on a consistent basis, especially with a variety of different openings, is a challenge for sure.
And so, here comes the Void Ray for Zoun. Zoun basically has to figure out what is the best way to hold this, and how do I get there? How many quarters can I cut to get the tech up that I need later? Sometimes you look at, a big timing attack from the Zerg and you think, oh, that looks like so much stuff. I mean, how can you possibly stop that? Well, it's all about what Protoss invested in on that path. Maybe you need to make... one thing about Solar is he doesn't seem to want to cheese at all. He wants to do a mid-game timing attack. Maybe you can, cut even more corners. Get something else even later out. I don't know. I mean, there's got to be a solution in there somewhere. MaxPax seemed to have it. Some of that, I guess, was also the fact that there was more Roach Ravager usage there from Solar, but, he got the Immortals out. He made that work. He certainly got more Void Rays.
We also saw from Zoun in the first series, he had that one very interesting build where he went for a quick Mothership before 4th base and before Storm with Charge Lots and Blink. And that was the game that he won. That was the approach that was winning against this style that Solar is dishing out. So I'm curious what Zoun is going to do with this back up against the wall. And right now, it kind of looks like it might be a Blink timing, although I say that, he does have +1. I missed the Forge going down. This could very well be a similar approach to what we saw before, with just a ton of Gateways, a ton of Blink Stalkers, and eventually a ton of Charge Zealots.
Looks like the Oracle gonna get chased out over here. We're going up to the 4th base. A lot of times 4th bases are when the Protoss decides to try to push out an attack, but I think in this matchup, with this meta, with these two, it's probably going to come down to the Protoss' 4th base and whether or not he can hold that. We've got the Fleet Beacon, we've got the Stargate, so this is probably a nod to game 1 of the whole day here.
Yeah, he's doing the same approach. That's going to be Blink Stalkers and eventually Charge Zealots, as well as Mothership and very fast carriers coming in from Zoun even before the 4th base. And that is a very sharp decision being made here by Zoun, because you look at the natural expansion here on Celestial Enclave, it is incredibly easy to take. Now, it is kind of like a half base, that natural expansion, Or the one in the pocket, all the way over there on the right. Yeah, this one is what I'm talking about. Zoun could very easily take this at any points he wants. It's the most defended position imaginable right now for him, but instead he's choosing not to invest money into the Nexus, into the probes to saturate the base. Instead, he's trying to get up to these double Stargates and Fleet Beacons as quickly as possible on 3 bases as an answer to what Solar is doing. And this time it's actually going to be Tempest.
Double Tempest. You know, in some ways, I like that even more than the carriers, right? If the Hydras are dodging and moving around Storm. Wait, is Storm even upgraded?
No Storm.
Yeah, never
we're
mind.
running it back.
Okay, so this is just going to be that kind of... It's a funny comp. It's like Zealot, Stalker, and then before it was, Mothership and Carrier, but now it would be Mothership and Tempest.
Yeah, it's a very interesting approach and one that you wouldn't think... It's a little unintuitive versus Hydralisks, right?
Yeah.
To go very quickly into Fleet Beacon. And by the way, it's going to be a Hydra drop into that pocket base that we just highlighted a moment ago. That certainly will be the target here for Solar. Now, there is static defense as well as a lot of these stasis wards here on the front lines for Zoun, but is he going to have enough to defend the main base? Is there even a recall available in the main base right now for Zoun? Mothership only about 75% done. It's actually being made at this Nexus. This Nexus is potentially a vulnerability. A lot of the production also vulnerable here. Only one pylon powering all these gateways.
I actually think it's almost worse if this Tempest pops out. Oh, never mind. I forgot how fast those things are.
Yeah, they're quick. They're
just like
quick.
flies out. So, I mean, right now the main is taking so much damage. He's not taking out that pylon in the middle.
Wow, I can't believe he didn't go for the pylon. The Mothership also is going to finish. Now, this does mean that the third base is very exposed here
Tempest
for Zoun.
went down. I knew it was bad if you let it come out.
Mothership going to anchor the defense there in the main base. The third base, I don't think the Nexus will fall, but a lot of probes are going down, as well as another Tempest taking a big bruising.
Yeah, he's going to continue to try to fight over here. And, I mean, there's a lot of workers being killed. Keep in mind, he can always drop in there again later on.
This is a very interesting turn of events because Solar, he doesn't have a lot of drones behind this. He does have that high-yield Vespene gas, so that's good for another 2 or 3 drones. But Zoun is still at 60 workers to the 69 right now of Solar. Zoun still has that 4th base getting up in the pocket expansion. He can very nearly saturate everything, as well as these Stargates. Time Warp coming down. I don't think that Solar can break him right now. And this is a little bit reminiscent of that previous series where Solar tried to go for the push. The Mothership popped just in time. Time Warp and Cloak were able to give Zoun just enough breathing room to defend. And then Zoun was able to carry through the victory. Zoun did take a lot of damage from that attack, but I don't know if it was enough for Solar.
I mean, it might have been. I mean, let's see. He's, the Tempest count was shrunken quite a bit. A lot of this, I think, does come down to kind of wiping the air out. And then, Ling Hydra can fight Zealot Soccer here pretty well. He's going to try to target this down with the Corruptors. It seems like the Corruptors might just have enough to take it out, and they do. And remember, I mean, these are units that take a long time to make compared to everything else. Protoss just sort of warps in. The question is, can Solar then regroup, wind up, and do another attack?
Look at this creep highway, by the way, from Solar. Oh my goodness, we've been so focused on the aggression, we haven't talked about the creep. It is almost in front of the natural expansion of Zoun. It is 1 creep tumor away from going to the natural expansion of Protoss. That is insane.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. The Tempest, though, you can kind of see the idea behind this set of units is that the Tempest, as long as they're targeting Hydras, they're going to just kill them off over time. You need to have a lot of Lings in front of this. You have to have a lot of meat so that these Hydras can keep doing damage. The creep, by the way, is now almost, literally to the ramp of the second base. Now, the Hydras are faster, even off creep versus the Tempest, so they can actually kind of move back. And it's funny, the situation's kind of turned on its head. There's not quite enough ground anything here for Protoss so that the Tempest can do their job.
A couple more Zealots getting warped in, but really they're just there to provide cannon fodder so the Tempest can do their work. At 5 Tempest, he's nearly two-shotting, or not two-shotting, excuse me, he's nearly one-shotting Hydras 2 at a time.
Yeah.
And so Solar, he's going to have to retreat. He's adding in more Corruptors. He's taking an additional base. He still hasn't made hardly any drones since that last attack. It's just been all aggression, whereas Zoun, he's able to get the Mothership back up. The Tempest count, it's ballooned quite substantially at this point. And Solar just keeps coming so close to breaking him, but not quite doing it. And that's scary for me from Solar's perspective because Zoun is really starting to build up an armada here in the sky. He's actually dealing with the Corruptors almost. That shield battery doesn't have enough energy, so some of these Tempests here on the front lines probably are going to fall, but the carrier's done. More Stalkers are warping in. I think that he's stable.
I think that actually there's not a whole lot that Solar can do. You know, he did keep expanding. He's on, what, 5 bases? He's going to have this fresh base in the back, but, you know, it's a small base, right? I think that Solar needs to stop attacking.
That's
it. I was going to say.
Wow.
It felt like that fight went on for like 2 minutes, a minute and a half longer, and there wasn't ever quite enough.
Yeah, this has been a trend in a lot of Solar's games where he will do this kind of push at Lair Tech, and the fight at the third base will literally last like 10 minutes. Like, I've noticed this in games, even coming into this RSL. It's just the style that he goes for. He just ramps up the aggression, and it doesn't... I want to be careful when I use the word all-in, because he's on like 3 or 4 bases. He's got 60-plus drones. It doesn't feel like an all-in, but sometimes the way that he commits to it, it kind of does feel like one. Like that game, for example, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's just trying to do everything to break him. I think there were some things Solar could have done better. The drop in the main, he did not target the pylon. The most important moment there was the drop along with the attack on the third base.
Yeah.
Or maybe fourth base. I don't know. When he was hitting the 2 locations at once, he needed to kill that pylon in the main, because just slowing all production down out of the main for a minute or 2 might have given him enough momentum to do that.
Yeah, I think you're right. You take on that pylon, that's 4 or 5 gateways. They get out of the
2
mix.
Stargates and...
Yeah, I agree with you. I wonder if we could resume from replay from that one if Solar wins more times.
All he had to do was click on that pylon, man.
All right.
So we are going to go into our final game of the evening, guys. One survives to the next round here. The other is out.
It's been a pretty epic day between these two. Solar winning the first best of 3 to kick off RSL Season 3, 2-1 over Zoun, and now Zoun fighting back 1-1 here in the final best of 3 versus Solar. And all of these games, it feels like every single one has been just hanging on a knife's edge. They've been so close, even in Series 1, coming now into the final series of the day. Like that was a 6-7 minute fight at the third base on the previous map. The first series, when Zoun was able to pick up his win with a similar build, going for the very fast double Stargate and Fleet Beacon and Mothership on 3 bases the same way they did in the previous map. That was also a very long, protracted engagement as Zoun was securing a 3rd and 4th base. And I wonder what this game is going to look like as a result of that, because Zoun, clearly he's gone for that style twice, I think only twice, in the 5 games that he has played versus Solar, and those are the only 2 wins that he has. And so I know you want to mix things up as a pro, especially in a Best of X series like this one, especially for playing somebody for the 2nd time in one day. But at what point do you just look at the history and be like, you know what, I'm just going to have to go for the really fast Mothership. I'm going to have to turtle up on 3 bases. I'm going to have to get the static defense the same way I did in Series number 1 or the same way I did in Series number 2.
Now, here's a question. What happens if we have a kind of a Roach Ravager attack here? And the Protoss is checking into that kind of comp. Makes me wonder.
I feel like the transition potential is a lot higher there for Solar. You know, maybe you're able to delay the 4th base a little bit and maybe the game can continue on. Because it seems like Solar, when he does go for these Hydraling, Baneling timing attacks, he absolutely could transition out of them if he wanted to, but he doesn't want to. And so it kind of trends to feel like it's an all-in. Like in that previous game, the supplies were nearly equal when Solar had tapped out just because he knew he couldn't break Zoun anymore. Because he had never actually invested into a transition, but yeah, there's a couple different ways this could go. He could mix it up and go for something like Roach Ravager, as you said. That is certainly a possibility. He could also go for the same timing attack and just try to really shut down the 4th base, get a couple of cancels, and then transition into something later, go into Hive Tech, right?
I mean, that's my thoughts. I think that there's... I don't know, you know, but what I will say about going into this match, I feel like Solar... I'm so certain about this is going to do some kind of a bust. He's just not going to... He could try some 2-base cheese. I don't think that would happen. I think he's just going to try to tweak. He's going to try to alter what he's already been trying to do and just figure out if he can take Zoun down one more time. If he takes him down, there's at least a week before he has to play any matches. He can go back to the lab. He can go try to figure out, you know, with the other Zergs that are active right now, how do we approach this matchup? Because what I'm seeing, and obviously we're very fresh, and especially for me casting the new patch, we're very, you know, this is all kind of new and exploratory in a lot of ways, what we're seeing. But I gather that Solar firmly believes that it only makes sense to do this because the Protoss is too difficult to grapple with if the game goes on for too long.
Yeah, that or just potentially this is a weakness that Protoss players haven't figured out how to fix yet.
Yeah.
Usually these metas, they take a long time to settle.
And by the way, when I say that he thinks that or he feels that way or that's how he's behaving, that doesn't even mean that like in 2 months that turns out to be true. That maybe there is a solution. Occasionally when big patches come out, sometimes players will overreact in how they play. Like they'll think this or that won't work anymore, and sometimes some of that stuff still will be viable. So anyways, let's see what is going to be the last shot for him to do this. I know we mostly cast this from Solar's perspective, but it's hard to not because the Protoss is just basically developing and growing and trying to get some tech out, and the Zerg is doing everything to stop it. Was that double Forge? No, I'm sorry, Forge and Twilight Council.
Yeah, Forge and Twilight coming in from Zoun, so unlikely to be a blink timing. He did deploy that, I think, on this map actually, in game number 1, if memory, or series number 1, excuse me, if memory serves. But in this case, no, it will just be the Twilight and the Forge here for +1, so most likely going to be a little bit more of a macro build. 2 more gateways coming in as well. This is kind of looking like the development pattern that he went for before when he went into the Fleet Beacon and the second Stargate.
We could also see maybe a different setup here from Solar, and he went for drop last time, but maybe he could try to do Overseers and try to goop some key tech coming out here. And it's going to be the Roach Warren, so it is going to be that Roach bust.
Roach Warren and potentially a Queen drop. We have the Lair finishing up pretty soon and Overlord Speed coming in. I think we just might have a big bust here at this third base.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Bring this out at the last possible second.
Zoun continuing to add gateways, by the way, going up to either 5 or 6 gateways in total here with a Blink and +1 ground weapons. Roach production has started here for Solar at only 55 drones, so very aggro. And yeah, that is 6 gateways in total here for Zoun. So he's going to have a lot of production to try and deal with this. I don't know if he's aware of exactly what's happening yet, but he's trying to figure it out with his Void Ray in the center of the map.
Yeah, well, any moment he can find that is going to be that much of an edge in trying to hold this, because you don't have a lot of time once this starts. Yeah. So it's key to kind of keep the roaches tucked away. He sees it with the tag, so this is the moment. He has seconds now to try to respond.
Yeah, photon cannons. Actually, he might have even eked this out. He might have figured this out a little bit earlier, too. He's already building 3 photon cannons and a shield battery. And Solar, he's transitioning. He's adding an infestation pit and a Hydralisk Den. He knows that this push has been revealed.
Yeah, and so what he wants to do is have him react in a very specific way, but he's going to just tech into the next step.
Oh, this is so smart. I love this from Solar. What a clever play. He's not committing to the attack after he gets spotted by Zoun, especially after he sees with his units on the front line that Zoun is already committing into photon cannons and already committing into shield batteries. And said Solar, he goes for a rat of drones and he starts teching up. I love that transition. What a smart move.
Yeah, I love what I'm seeing here. Okay, and it's going to be Hydras and Lurker Tech.
Are we going to have that Hive coming in shortly? Yeah, there it is. It gets started. All right, we might have a macro game here in ZVP. Solar's been giving us a lot of Lair Tech, Hydraling, Veiling, timing attacks, but here in the final match of Group A, he's going to be busting out the Hive.
And I mean, excuse me, it's going to be a different kind of game. I think at this point in time, Zoun already knows. Well, obviously this Roach attack's never going to come. He's switching into the next tech. We've got the Mothership on the way now and getting charged pretty late here, but he didn't really need it for what he was fighting earlier because that's not going to help against Roaches. So he's going to just kind of continue to fill out his tech.
Yeah, and the good thing here for Zoun is that he's already going into 2 Stargate with a Mothership versus Lurker. And Skytoss is the answer to Hive-Tech Lurkers on the ground. Eventually, the Zerg is just going to outscale you in a purely ground versus ground war with those Lurkers, with the massive range that they've got. But the bad news for Zoun is that he's already invested a lot of money in a static defense, which, I mean, it's truly proving to be fruitful in this situation as the drop in the main base gets deflected. One potentially even in the natural expansion might be getting deflected right now. No, that's just an Overseer. But he doesn't have a 4th base yet. And so the economy a little bit hampered here. If Solar goes for some kind of contain play, if he can cancel the 4th Nexus, getting started at the 9 o'clock position, and just really starve Zoun on 6 gases, Zoun won't have the income that he needs to sustain the production that he's going for. He's trying to go into Templar. He has 2 Stargates in production right now. That's a lot of gas, Tasteless, on 3 bases.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. Zerg does not appear to be able to touch anything, just the way this map is shaped. Like, you can turtle so hard on a base, like on a geography like the one that we're looking at now.
Oh, I love that blink.
Dude, that was sick. It was like a blink surround. And he's going to throw down this Nexus. The Stalker actually lives through that. And, you know, maybe with a 4th base there, maybe that's a little bit more attackable. But again, this map, you're in such an entrenched spot, just the way that the entrances are shaped.
Yeah, actually, looking at the architecture, I feel like this might be one of the best maps to go for this double Stargate play on, because you can kind of park everything right at the 3rd base, and that covers your 2 focal points. It covers this little ramp that leads into your natural expansion or your 3rd, and it covers the junction between your 3rd and your 4th.
Yeah, I think you're basically right. You can kind of just stay back, and nothing's too far away to where you can get out position. But Solar's going to try to push in. I do struggle in some ways seeing how lurkers are going to be too effective when you've got Tempest like this. Like, it just seems like don't you just shoot the lurkers from afar and you're fine? And obviously the Hydras can't get in there. We've got Corruptors being made, but it always depends on whether or not in any given fight can the Corruptors overpower everything in a short period of time to kind of swing the fight in that favor.
Yeah, I think Solar is really just looking to try and get a kill on the 4th Nexus and then retreat, because as you said, it's very hard to attack into this Protoss, but what he might be able to do is starve Zoun, and with this force moving here between the natural expansion and the 3rd, that's moving Zoun's army away from the 4th. The Lurkers are now going to be trying to take that down. The shields not quite depleted yet. I'm not sure he's going to have enough time. Abduct is going to connect on one of the Tempest. It will get taken down by the Corruptor. It's in a very expensive trade, but it looks like at the end of the day, Solar will be able to take down that Nexus. And with the main base and soon Natural mining out here for Zoun, that's a very expensive loss.
Yeah, you know, he did it. He came in, he poked it out, he gets away. I guess, you know, earlier I was saying, well, you know, can't the Tempest just shoot the Lurkers? Well, they can, but not in time. Lurkers do a lot of damage. God, that was a lot of Lurker shots hitting that over there. Now the Corruptors are going to come in here. The Corruptors can overpower this. Nice storms on that. They're going to come in here and probably deny this Nexus again if the Protoss defenses aren't good enough.
All right, Zoun now coming in again, trying to find another angle. Blinks forward, able to get 2 Lurkers with that blink. That is a nice move from Zoun. Solar, he's been successful in taking down the 4th base, and so the income differential right now, you can see at the bottom of the screen, it's like 500 or 600 more minerals for Solar. It's also 1,000 or so more gas for Solar. It's a lot of income going Solar's way, but it was expensive to take down that 4th base. He lost a lot of Lurkers, he lost Roaches, Lings, Hydras, Corruptors, very expensive units to make that trade happen, whereas Zoun, at least in terms of the army engagement, was very cost efficient. So Zoun, despite only just now taking the 4th base at like 12 minutes, he's not out of this game yet, even though you look at the mini-map and it feels grim.
Yeah, he's got to get this base up and running. This has been a game where there's been basically no attention to the Zerg. That's kind of by design, right? Because, you know, so much of these games today overall have just been, can Protoss survive or not? And if they do, they win. But this is a little bit different. And now the Zerg is coming in here. And you know what's funny is it's not about the Zerg killing all the bases. It's about the Zerg just killing this one over and over and over again. These bases are all going to mine out. There is basically no other 4th base to take that's easy, by the way. These maps always kind of show how they truly have to be played if you just give enough time for 2 pro gamers to duke it out on them. But this Nexus is shut down again, and that means it's going to be way less income. Again, Zerg's presence on the map is huge, although these Zealots over here that are hitting this, they're going to be stopped. They actually did deny a hatchery. We didn't have time to talk about this. They did deny a hatchery above that.
And deny a hatchery actually the high-yield Vespene gas location, too. So a very valuable pick-off for Zoun, but he's still struggling to take this 4th base, and I think these trades have been cost-efficient enough for him that he's willing to say, you know what, I haven't got my 4th base up just yet, but I have been able to take 2 successful trades versus your army. Let me just test the waters and see what I can get done. I wonder how committed he's going to get. He is going to move forward and take down all of the creep, but actually it's going to be a fight commencing. These Overseers necessary for the reveal. Mothership does use the cloak as well as the time warp. That's going to usher Solar away. But Zoun's looking for a fight. He's been 7,000 more resources efficient in terms of army trading thus far.
Yeah, well, he's got the Nexus about to finish again. Probes are coming over here, and Mapu's showing us, minerals. There's not a lot left on this map. These smaller mineral patches are almost, are already mined out. Excuse me. The other ones are drying up. And Protoss basically needed to be on 4 bases for a long time. So Zerg, they've maxed out, and that means that you can basically attack in and start to pour your supply back into this. But Protoss is also nearly maxed out, and so Solar has to be careful. Let's not forget, Solar basically lost a game he was supposed to win by overextending here.
Oh no, Overseer right there with the Corruptors and the Viper. So many Corruptors getting taken down by not just the Archons, but also the Tempest got a lot of shots in. It did buy Solar the space to get some damage on this 4th, but now the Lurkers are completely exposed. The Corruptors, they're coming back, trying to flank. But somehow, Zoun able to push everything back. Oh, that was the dream engagement for Zoun.
Yeah, and now we've got the counterattack. For the first time, Zoun is moving across the map. He's maxed out. It's a small number of Lurkers down here. I think this base has to be canceled. But I also don't think Zoun is going to stop there. Now, when you have only one viable base, in the future of this game, that's a very desirable spot for the Zerg to counterattack. But Zoun is going to basically shift back and try to absorb any counters.
I'm actually stunned that he's coming back to defend right now.
I think this is too much. I thought he should have at least poked out the other base. He has enough to probably hold that.
It might be hard in a situation like this one where your 4th base has gotten taken out so many times to really know where you are in the game state, though. And so Zoun might be looking at this and being like, you know what? I haven't been on the map. It's now 15 minutes. I've known from my Zealots that Solar had creep spread basically on my front door, that he was taking bases in the bottom left and the top right side of the map. I'm way behind. Solar has a bank, he remax, let me retreat and just try and secure this 4th base. But that's not actually where the game was at. I think that Zoun might have had a window where if he had continued pushing, he could have potentially just won the game outright.
Well, this is a little scary, man. I mean, Solar may be our tragic hero of the day for the Zergs. Got so close to winning so many times, but eventually the Protoss did survive, right? We have the one Swarm host being made.
Yeah. The one Swarm host now coming in. These Tempests are in such a count that the Corruptors are having an incredibly difficult time engaging on them. Swarm host is done.
Yeah.
What can you do? The Swarm needs you, Mr. Swarm host.
So, Zoun is going to try to push.
Look at that cost efficiency.
Yeah.
More than twice as cost efficient has Zoun been. That's partly because Solar sacrificed so much to continuously deny that 4th base, but he was never able to get the killing blow off on it. And now Zoun is really starting to feel confident with this move out. He's slowly taking away the creep spread, reducing the mobility of the Zerg as well as the vision from the Zerg. And eventually I think he's going to try and collapse on this position, but
yeah, he just has to get through that Lurker defense. So many Corruptors have been made. Now we really need to see, will these Corruptors be able to win a fight? Storms are going to be very handy in trying to deny that. If the Corruptors can strong-arm the, all the Flyers for Protoss, then maybe the ground army can come in and clean up.
And Zoun is retreating again. I keep expecting him to push in, and he just does the more patient move. And until now, this has really paid off. Oh, what are these Templar doing? They're chasing the Corruptors and the Lurkers mixed in with the Zerg army. Somehow 2 of them survive. All right, well, none of them survive. They got one Storm on a rock, but I have no idea how that happened. Swarm host also got picked off by the Zealots. The Solar, he's starting to stabilize a little bit. It looked like he was very close to getting knocked out. Still, the bank just isn't quite there for Zerg.
I mean, it's looking pretty... It's funny, because Zerg has to keep expanding further and further out, and these are all pretty attackable locations for Protoss, especially with this giant air fleet and a ground army to kind of pair with it. But, at the same time, Zoun doesn't have that much more of the map he can really take. Weirdly enough, it feels like the bottom left base probably goes to Zerg long before it goes to Protoss. The top right also feels like it kind of goes to Zerg more than it goes to Protoss.
I think it just speaks to the presence that Solar's had on the map thus far, but it's so hard for him to engage on this army. There's so many Tempests. And even the Archons now on the ground assisting them. It's just the Corruptors cannot get on top. And I'm not sure that Solar has the bank to make enough Vipers to really make Abducts a reasonable option here.
So he fights him off. Ultralisk Cavern coming now. This hatchery is going to go down. I don't know how many more minerals are left at the bases. So that one's super rich, but that one had barely been mined from. Everything else is actually really bad.
Yeah, there's only 2. This one's starting to mine out as well. Only 30 minerals left on that patch.
So, I mean, Solar needs a win. And I think he needs to just get a little bit more material down there in the bottom left. We got a counterattack that's going to hit this base. The 4th base that was kind of the focal point of the game 10 minutes ago. But there's enough cannons, you can't really do anything.
Yeah, cannons plus 1 Templar going to make sure those Lings do not connect with the probes. Zoun's going to try and take another expansion here on the top right side of the map. The Ultra transition is coming in here for Solar. 5 Ultras in production as he spends the last of his minerals trying to get an army here on the map. I think Ultra is probably a smart choice given the way this has gone. I can't really see what else would be a reasonable answer to what Zoun has. Right now, you need some sustain. The Corruptors are getting picked off way too easily right now by Zoun's army. You don't have anything tanky.
Squishy.
Yeah.
So he's going to try to push in here. This might force everything back. Well, never mind. He's going to say, no. Actually, you know, the reality is, too, Protoss can probably push in and flatten a lot more of the real estate Zerg has and then come back and save this later.
Oh, Recall also is going to try and catch these 2 Lurkers. Detection. I guess it doesn't matter.
Pick him up!
Come on, Phoenix, you have one job!
That's what that Phoenix was there for!
This Lurker's gonna survive. What a lazy
Phoenix art army with 1 Phoenix, and 1 Swarm host on the other side. It's crazy. So, I think the game, you know, it's funny, the game kind of slows down to a crawl in a lot of ways. I think that all Protoss has to do is keep reaching across the map and poking out hatcheries. And keep 1 base mining at least.
Yeah, he has, I think, two full bases. Yeah, it's still full there at the 9 o'clock expansion. Although he hasn't saturated the gas yet at that 5th base. I think that is definitely a mistake with how many probes are idle right now. But in a game as chaotic as this one, it's understandable to have a couple slip-ups like that. And Solar somehow has survived. I honestly thought that he was dead. I want to say 5 or 6 minutes ago, after Zoun just completely routed his army after the engagement where the Corruptors got picked off, Lurkers got picked off. Solar now has a ton of Ultras on the ground. The Corruptor flock is the biggest that it's been all game. This army has so much HP. I think that's a dead Nexus.
Yeah, I don't see this surviving. He can get it. You know, it's funny, he could have probably done this even without the Ultras because nothing's over here. The 1 Phoenix, though, what can it do? Oh, nothing. That's right.
Can't lift up an Ultra Tasteless.
Yeah, it's too heavy, even for the Phoenix gravity beams. So he's on top of this. I think the mothership's gonna go down.
What a game.
I don't know what's happening.
The Corruptors are barely not cleaning up the Sky Toss. The Ultra has destroyed absolutely everything on the ground, but I'm not sure if Solar has enough money to really produce the Corruptors, so he's able to take down the 5th base. The 6th base just finished. 5 Corruptors are in production. So Solar basically has nothing that can kill the army of Zoun.
Yeah.
But Zoun can't kill this army fast enough to save the expansions.
Yeah. This is a very interesting game.
And look at the income right now for Zoun. I think the 9 o'clock expansion might be starting to mine out. The minerals are just so thin that it's going to be trouble for him if he has to rebuild this base. He just lost 41 probes. Only 10 probes mining at the 9 o'clock on minerals.
So,
what a bizarre situation.
It's such a unique game. So there's basically this flying death ball that Zerg can't attack directly except with a few Corruptors that he's made. But there's counters for the Corruptors here in some ways. I mean, like Psystorm, he has to have an Archon, right? Maybe not. No, I guess he does not have
There's no Archons, but
Yeah.
I guess 13 Corruptors is a good number.
He could morph an Archon too with the 2 Templars, but the point is that, like, it's going to come down to these Corruptors. And if the Corruptors win the fight, I think the Zerg can basically win because Ultralisks are just good units. But it's very hard to say. This really becomes like a very complicated chess game now.
It comes down to Zoun keeping his air army alive versus all these Corruptors. As Solar's going to be moving in. Some Storm's trying to zone them away. Corruptors just completely pouncing on this position. There isn't enough detection with 4 Overseers. Ultra's cleaning up everything on the ground. We're looking at the units tab right now, and it seems like the Sky Toss is going to survive. Zoun is going to win the game. Solar did not have enough gas left in the tank. to take down the Sky Toss. That was one of the most wild PBZs I think I have
What is
ever
up with
seen.
these games where it's literally like we don't know until the last second who's going to win?
I felt like that could have broke either way there, even in the
Same.
last fight. But Zoun just had enough Sky Toss to take down those Corruptors. It was, 13 Corruptors against something like 4 Tempests and 3 or 4 Carriers. But I guess plus 3 Carriers, pretty good, Tasteless.
Pretty good. Very interesting game, too. But I like
Wow.
the situation that Solar kind of created where it's like, all right, well, he just doesn't quite have an income. If I can barely get enough Corruptors to counter that. It seems like the fight before that where the Corruptors, I think they were under 1 Archon. There was just enough splash damage, the Corruptors got killed off. I literally said I can't tell what's quite happening in that fight. And then as everything disappeared, there's like 1 Archon that kind of, as the Corruptor bodies fly away, that did so much damage that the mothership and everything else wasn't able to be killed.
That was one of the most chaotic fights. That I had to literally look at the units tab to tell which units were dying and which were staying alive because it was such a mess with the Ultras, with the Corruptors, with all the Sky Toss units all stacked on top of each other. And somehow, miraculously, Zoun is going to advance with MaxPax in Group A of the RSL. Solar, that was a hell of a run.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, my hero of the day, but...
Yeah, well, it's crazy. He almost got out twice, but didn't, just due to battles that were sorted at the last second.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we've got Classic Creator, and so
Trigger and Cure.
Trigger and Cure. I'm like, oh, my short-term memory. I don't know who it is. Anyways, you guys see Group C and Group D.
Yeah.
Next slide, Ziggy.
This is the schedule for RSL Season 3. We really had to kind of cram this one together because...
Our tournament is the same size, but we're having to take the final week and smush it into the week before. We were under the impression there was going to be a major StarCraft II tournament in China, so we moved it all. We had everybody rearrange their schedules, and then that tournament got canceled, but we're still here. So we're going to be going through this. Join us. It's going to be starting next week earlier because we're doing double days. So.
Yeah, and that is basically officially a double day because we're going to have the whole first section and then a 30-minute break and then the second section of the broadcast. So if you're watching on YouTube, follow us on YouTube, by the way. If you're watching on YouTube, it'll probably feel pretty much the same to you. But, oh boy, if you're tuning in next week, it is going to be a little bit of marathon. So make sure you keep yourself hydrated, get some energy, and check out our official partner for RSL Season 1, 2, and 3, Archon Studio.
I have the box. What's in the box? Zeratul's in the box. This is, we have this, I think, before it's even out. I got chills when I opened the box. It came in a bigger box. I didn't actually open this box. This is a terrible promo. This is just one of the many pieces that are going to be in the StarCraft Miniatures tabletop game set coming out later this year. Go to the Archon website, check out their products. The StarCraft stuff's amazing. Everything on their website's amazing. These are the premier tabletop miniatures game manufacturers in the entire freaking world. You know what? Nay, I say the galaxy.
I don't know how many tabletop miniatures.
If the aliens come to enslave us, I'm going to go, fine, give me my shock collar. But first, let me ask you this. How are your tabletop games? And they're going to go, nop, 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 nop. And that's alien for not as good as Archon Studio.
It's very exciting. I've never had a tabletop miniature game or any tabletop miniatures ever.
What a loser. All right, well, you better get one pretty soon here because they're sponsoring our tournament.
I'm getting this one.
Yeah.
I'm getting this one, Tasteless.
What else is terrible about your life,
I was going to bring it back. I want to pay Zeratul, man. I want to put him on my
I've also never been on
counter.
a roller coaster. Well, that's embarrassing. Anyways, guys, patreon.com/Revive SC2. We need your support. Sign up. Whatever you can give, we will love you for it. If you can't give us anything because you're not financially in a place to do so, you can become a member and we get access to your email and we can send you information about our tournaments. But please sign up. We want to carry the torch forward. We also have merch. If you want to check out tastelessthreads.com, it's 20% off for Patreon supporters. We got other stuff on there too. That's not important unless we're talking about the tickets. What? Tickets? For where? To our live event. We're going to be doing an offline event December 13th, December 14th. People are already buying. They're playing tickets. They're getting hotels. Pretty soon, people are going to be calling the babysitters. They got to come down and see our tournament. You get standard tickets. If you're a regular, you want the regular experience, which is extraordinary. You want the premium tickets? That's extraordinary plus.
Wow.
All right,
what a pitch taste.
I'm running out of gas here. I got to get dinner soon, man. I'm so hungry.
Oh, my word.
So tonight, is it at midnight, right? Tonight at midnight, that's KST. So that would be in an hour and 8 minutes from now. The LCQ signups are going to go live. You have to have participated in an RSL to sign up for our LCQ. What's the LCQ? That's the last chance qualifier that's going to be happening live here in Seoul. It's going to be on December 13th. So we're going to have this crazy cutthroat battle royale to see who's going to survive to play in the final spot for the tournament the next day, which is going to be the RSL offline finals. So the winner of Season 3 is going to fill in that slot for the third spot. Classic and Zoun obviously have already made it, winning Season 1 and Season 2 respectively. So if you're going to do that, you have to have participated in an RSL qualifier, and we, unless you're winning Season 3, obviously we cover travel and accommodation there, but we can't just bring you guys out here for that. That's for your pro teams or for your pocketbooks to sort out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of folks that played in those qualifiers. Tasteless could have a small army out here in Korea trying to play in the LCQ.
Well, hey, here's the thing: if you want to come and you play, you can play in that.
Yeah.
If you want to, then come and well, who knows? Maybe you're going to win the whole thing, or if you don't, you can join our live event and watch there live.
Yeah.
So,
it's going to be a blast. This is a really cool tournament format. It was a big aspiration for us to have a live offline finals like this at the end of the year.
The players will be there, the casters will be there, fans will be there. These are few and far between here for StarCraft II, but we wanted to keep them going. That's all the time we have, guys. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back on tomorrow, same time, same place. Any closing thoughts, State?
StarCraft is awesome, man. I love the new patch. Blizzard is back, baby. The maps are awesome. RSL is great, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.